understandable. All right, here goes then. Here comes the show in 3, 2, 1.
I thought you might have wanted to mingle with the others.
Hello and welcome to Core. This is Core for Friday, August 18th, 2023. My name is Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. We're here to talk about video games, and we promise not just one game, all right? Although we will talk a lot about one particular game.
It's mostly one
Mostly.
game.
That's where we're at.
Like, don't take that. Will it be one game in the literal sense? No.
No.
Is it mostly going to be one game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's okay. This is what happens. It's the zeitgeist. We're in it. Literally, we're in the middle of the zeitgeist. Picture it as a swirling storm of gratitude in gamers' hearts for an incredible game well done. That's why we're going to talk more about Baldur's Gate 3. Apparently, last week, we didn't say the name of that game, maybe not even once until the end of the show when Grandma kicked in. That's what everybody told me.
How confusing that would be to not be able to figure out that we were talking about the biggest video game release that just came out.
Yeah, I'm pretty
sure
sure
everybody was talking about.
Pretty sure everybody figured it out, and we're only telling us that because
you just write it in the show description, right? And we got a picture of Lizelle as a show image.
Yeah, we couldn't have been more obvious about it.
I think it's still okay criticism. We should say the name of the game we're talking about.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, but it did really expose a few of you who live under rocks, and I feel sad for you.
What game?
What game are you talking about? You're 20 minutes in. I got all kinds of that.
Be anything.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's Baldur's Gate 3. We will be talking about it. Before we do, I got to tell you this story. This is great. I was walking the dog, my dog, Rainer, Jim Rainer, the female dog, and she's loves a good walk. And we took a slightly different path this time around a neighborhood I'm not used to going past. And what did my eyes see sticking out of a bush? A video game manual. Now, at first, I thought it was just some trash, and I was going to go grab it and throw it away because I'm a decent neighborhood citizen type person. I clean up my dog poop like you're supposed to do. All right, people who don't freaking F off and get out of the neighborhood, freaking pick up your dog poop. But anyway, I see this thing sticking out, and I'll show you what it looked like. Like you could see this corner of this little booklet I have right here.
Yeah.
And I got closer and I went, Microsoft, Bungie, what is this? I pulled it out. Somebody threw Halo 3, the manual for the disc, and it's banged up, but it's in pretty good condition. And there was no disc with it, just this manual. But for some reason, the manual for Halo 3 on the Xbox 360 just hanging out in the bush.
I want to know how it got there. Like, I want to know the story, like where somebody was just like, and I shall never Halo again, and just threw it in a fit of rage.
That's funny because
kid playing with it, right, and just left it there.
That's what I was thinking. It'd be something about a kid, or maybe the kid got in trouble, and in a fit of rage, he went and threw his manual outside because his dad kicked him off the Xbox. I don't know. Like, I know there are parents who refuse to upgrade consoles for their kids, so they're still like 2 gens behind because that's all they're going to be willing to do. But yeah, and also
the upgrade is a bit of loaded language.
Yeah,
maybe they can't afford it.
Hold on now. Refuse. I know a couple of cheapskates out there that still expect their kids to play Xbox 360 games.
I know some cheap parents that won't buy their kids an Oculus.
Yeah, that's true.
We call them the poors, and I will not associate with them here or any further.
Those losers. But what's crazy is I forgot how, like, for a 360 era game, I thought we were done with manuals. But this thing has, like, full color, every weapon, all their descriptions, how many rounds each weapon holds, all major characters.
I am, as you're showing that, like, when you showed me the back of it, I'm assuming, like, NES, SNES, something like that era, because that's just where I associate video game manuals for.
Yeah.
Then you flipped it over and it was Halo, and there was a part of me that went, I immediately sort of checked out of your story because I assumed that it would be a garbage this era of gaming manual where they didn't do anything with it. It was just like, we put it in there. It tells you how to turn on the game, I guess. That's actually a genuinely good manual.
Yeah,
like,
look at this. All these vehicles.
That's what video game manuals are supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think that's probably around the time when they were starting to dwindle out.
Yeah, probably.
I think when that game came out was when they were saying, in the future, all of your games will be online, no boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Halo 3
that
would
seemed
have been
a little bit science fiction, but a little bit possible and low.
Halo 3's release date was 2007. We didn't even have phones yet. Not the phones we have now. We had phones, but
And we didn't have phones.
smartphones weren't a thing yet. But they
No lights, no trains, no motor cars.
also, I think this
had
was
like an iPhone 5 around that time, maybe.
sure.
iPhone
Well,
4.
First iPhone came out in 07. July is the announcement date. So we didn't have iPhone anything until that.
Halo 3, though, I think came out. I want to say, because I remember I bought it. I think
07,
I
right?
bought it with my Xbox. Yeah.
Here, let me look it up. Halo. Oh, yeah,
May
same.
have been, yeah.
Same
right.
year as the iPhone was announced, a year before Android happened. So we were still in that zone, but even then, I think maybe this was Microsoft going, look, it's been since 04 since we did our last one, Halo 2. This is a big moment. Let's go all out. I mean, I don't think this is from like
It was a flagship game for the 360.
Yeah, Halo
yeah.
3 felt like a big deal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was a return to form. Like Halo 1, 2, and 3 all had their own like explosions. Halo was more like, oh my gosh, a good first person shooter since GoldenEye on console is amazing. And it kind of exploded after the fact. There was a bit of hype building up to it, but it was like it came out and it blew up into this giant thing. Halo 2 had tons of hype behind it. I think regardless of how you felt about the game overall, it was undeniably huge going into it.
Yep.
But then Halo 3 felt like the answer to all the criticisms of Halo 2 and like, you know, we're gonna finish the fight and all of that. And like, this is it. It felt like the wrapping up of a trilogy. I just remember everybody being crazy for that game
Yeah,
coming out,
it
and
was a
myself
big deal.
included. Like, I loved Halo 3.
Yeah, I think this was a
much.
massive release. It's funny though. This will tell you about its timing a little bit. The Xbox 360 hard drive. Remember that some didn't have a hard drive at all. It was all running off discs. This required it. So features of Halo 3 require an Xbox 360 hard drive. For example, using the hard drive enables you to download new content and share custom games, save files, and screenshots. Go to Bungie.net for more information about how to get a hard drive for your Halo 3 experience. Like, that's weird. No hard drive in some of those 360s. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing here about remember the Forge? They're bringing that back to Infinite just now, I think.
Strike him while that iron's hot, man.
Yeah. A little late on that, but anyway, it was a nice little surprise, and I stood there in the heat and the sun while my dog whined at me and just kind of flipped through it, and then I decided to keep it because who else? You know, it's in the bush. It's mine now. I don't care. I don't care whose bush
That's
that
Bo's
is.
policy with food too.
It's in the bush. It's mine. Yeah. Those are the bush rules.
I figured you guys would enjoy that. All right, let's get to our big topic. So we could just like go immediately into Baldur's Gate 3 again, and don't worry, we will. But instead, there's a little thing I thought was interesting. It's come up before. We've talked about it here and there, but Overwatch 2 is on Steam. And as everybody already knows, it is currently at the lowest score from users that the site has ever had. That Steam.com, the app ever in the history of Steam. Steamcom. In all of Steamcom.
Steam.gabenewell.com.
10 Hams, in all of 10 Hams history, there's never been a game with a lower user score. And there are no critic scores, really. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. Lowest Steam score of all time. And that only seems to be getting worse. But also, interestingly, the game, I'm looking right now, as of an hour ago, 2,412 people are playing it. I'm sorry, 20,412 people are actively playing it. The peak in the last 24 hours, 48,167. And all-time peak, which was right around launch, was 75,361. Considering this is also is free to play over on the existing BattleNet, it surprises me that it's still doing those kinds of numbers all at the same time while it's getting its ass kicked in the reviews. So obviously it's being review bombed. People are still playing it, and people are review bombing it. And it reminded me that two things can be true at once, at least in my opinion. We'll throw it around the table, see who disagrees. But I think these two things are true. Overwatch 2 is a mess from a PR standpoint, but lots of other standpoints. And it is not a surprise that players are pissed about it. I'm pissed about it. I don't think that thing's in great shape, and it's a bunch of weird decisions that led to all this. That is true. I think it's also true that review bombing sucks ass, and I think it's not good overall for the business, or it's just a waste of time, and all it does is make us all go to each other's throats because it seems like people are playing it regardless. Like they don't care anyway. Like I don't know how much of a dent this made. Maybe if there were really positive feelings about Overwatch 2 leading into their launch on Steam, we wouldn't have so many negative reviews. I don't know. And maybe that means that wouldn't translate to player numbers or higher or lower player numbers, but John, I'm throwing it to you because you and I have traditionally seen this a little bit different. How do you, what's your and we can apply it to other games too. For example, BG3's had a little bit of an effort on the back end from some reviewers, albeit they're mostly from China for some reason.
No, that was the Overwatch.
Oh, is that Overwatch?
China.
Okay, same thing though.
No,
like a lot of
Baldur's Gate has gotten some negative reviews because people feel like it doesn't deserve its position on Metacritic, so they gave it a negative review because in their eyes, like much like Thanos, they feel like balance needs to exist, and heaven forbid the game they like not be as highly valued as another game that comes out. Which I think is stupid. And I think that there are a lot of stupid reasons to give a review, but I think review bombing is totally acceptable, totally fine. Even when I don't agree with the reasons for it. I don't agree with that as a reason to review bomb Baldur's Gate. I think that there are plenty of examples out there of people review bombing movies for stupid reasons. And I still think that everybody should have every right to go do it. Like, absolutely go do it. We only have so many ways that we can voice our concerns. The one we always say is, vote with your wallet. Don't support something you disagree with, and try and support things that you do agree with, which, going back to Baldur's Gate, it's a real good example. If you're bummed out about the way video games monetize and some of their practices, you should support developers that don't do that. That's how it works. But, I feel like you just said it, Scott. You don't think Overwatch 2 is in a really good place. If somebody said, hey, go leave a review for Overwatch 2, I don't imagine you would give it a positive review. You would, intentionally or not, be contributing to it having one of the worst reviews in all of Steam, just because that's where your opinion lands. And I think review bombing is a good way to give your feelings on how a company's doing. It puts it out there for everybody to see. It gives, casual users a reason to go, well, why is Overwatch 2 got so many negative reviews? Before I get into it, I'm going to take a look and find out and do research of their own. And I think that there's merit in that. So I would ask you this, Scott, just a series of questions. I think all reviews are subjective. Doesn't matter what company you're writing for. Subjectivity is going to leak into any video game review. But if you were going to say which is more objective, professional paid reviews or user reviews, what would you say?
I would say there are problems on the professional side. This goes for movies and other stuff, television, everything else.
But what would you trust more? A professional reviewer or
I would
Johnny Appleseed 32?
The person. Why Johnny Appleseed? Just curious.
I don't know. I just picked a username.
When he wasn't busy planting all these apple trees,
wearing a pot upon his head.
That's fantastic. All right, so here's how I would answer that. The ones I would trust the most are probably professional paid reviewers who I already trust with a track record. So that takes time.
And so,
that takes time to build out. But if it's just some rando who says Overwatch 2 is the worst game that ever got made, I can't take that dude seriously.
Right. But even within the realm of professional paid reviewers, right?
Yeah.
Let's say someone you don't always agree with their views, but you respect them as a reviewer.
Right.
They give a game a high score.
Yeah.
Would you immediately just see that number and go out and buy the game?
No. So I'll give you an exact example of this. I have a very good friend who works at IGN. His name is Dan Stapleton. It's not outing him. His name's on all sorts of bylines.
Hi, Dan. Sorry for getting outed.
He's an amazing guy. I really like Dan a lot. And I read his reviews. every time he does one. And it's not always for the same systems or platforms or even genres. It's kind of all over the place. But I really like how the kind of depth he goes into and his approach to games in general. And I agree with him most of the time. We tend to have similar tastes, but there are some times where he'll go off one direction I don't agree with or whatever. But like you said, there's like this respect there and a little bit of trust or whatever you want to call it. And it's familiar enough that I know when he's liking a thing I wouldn't, or he's not liking a thing I might like. I just know because I'm used to it. But that took time. That took curation. That took me learning to trust his voice in the space over a period of time, as opposed to just somebody going blah. But I also hold that same thing. I have that same thing with people I know who are not paid professional reviewers, who are just people I know and like and trust, fellow gamers who I jive with. And even like John could do a review on something, and it may be I don't agree with it because it's a kind of game I don't like. Let's say he really loves
I gave Final Fantasy 16 a 16 out of 10.
Yeah, and I'd give it
we don't agree on that video game, right?
Yeah, exactly. We don't. But I don't, that isn't like a stumbling block. That to me is just like, well, here's where we differ. And for me, that only adds to the trust later on, because now I know where your head's at with games like that may come around. And it makes it more fun, to be honest, when something comes around that it subverts expectations. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm kind of swinging this other direction. And John was already there. Why did he already like it? Well, it's because I like that back and forth. And all of those things I've just said in this big bundled up conversation that's where I trust the word of people reviewing video games. But if I go to Steam and I see overwhelmingly positive, and I know that's just users, and let's just say it's a game like, I don't know, like a Vampire Survivors that I want to pick up or something.
Right.
And I'll see that score. This happened today. That's enough for me to run over there and throw $5 at whatever the game is. So in the positive, I do tend to believe that list, because I think it takes more work to be positive than it does to be negative. I think being negative is easy. And so it doesn't mean that the game's crap if it has a bad review. But when it's that overwhelming and it broke all records for negative reviews, there's no way I can look at it from a practical perspective and go, well, I'm sure glad I got the skinny on this horrible game.
You're getting to what my point is. My point is that you're saying, even for what you think is the more objective of the two, which is professional reviews, even for a reviewer you trust, you still need context. Someone can't just flash a number at you and say, buy it, and you're going to drop $70 on a product,
right, or
invest into it.
Right.
So what I don't understand is why people get up in arms about the overwhelming whatever score for user reviews. Like, why do we get so lost in the weeds? At the end of the day, you need context. Same thing goes for user reviews. And I don't know why it's so difficult for people to want that context on one side and then completely go blind to it on the other. And what I mean by that is this. People review bombed, we'll say Captain Marvel, for example, right? Because it was a women in power movie. Stupid reason to review bomb a movie, in my opinion, but it got review bombed for it. I go there and I see overwhelming negative user, or whatever they call it for movies, reviews.
Audience score or whatever. Yeah.
I shouldn't just see that and go, oh, is bad, and walk away.
Yeah.
I need context. I need to know why it's that. And when I go and I look at it, and the first thing I see is dumb women's, I go, oh, well, then I don't need to count any of this. Yeah. I don't agree with the premise of the review, and therefore I don't have to give any credence to it.
Right.
And it is the same with user reviews. Like, I think everybody should absolutely, it doesn't matter how big or small the reason is. If a game bothered you, you have every right to go and give it a negative review. That's fine. But when we react to that review, we need to judge it for the context that it has. Is it dumb that people are down, like, giving bad reviews to Baldur's Gate because it's getting too good of reviews? Yes, that's stupid. But all it takes is going and reading those reviews where they say this game doesn't deserve the hype it's getting for me to go, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Like, there's no sense in getting caught up in, is it deserved? Is Overwatch 2 actually the worst video game in the world? No, it isn't. But Overwatch 2 is a very hated property. Why? Because Blizzard created that culture. Whether it was Overwatch decisions or, like I said, there's a lot of Chinese votes in there, and it's been done as a protest for what happened with Blizzard in China. That's still something the company did. That's still feelings that people have based on the company's actions. And there's no reason those people shouldn't be allowed to go out and voice their opinion. And at the end of the day, to me, if you're going to get so caught up in user reviews, your better bet is to just ignore them. Because they have as much value as the words that are behind them. And if you give weight to those reviews, you're only giving weight to the opinions that they have.
The real stinker of that, and I agree with you actually all the way there. The only thing I have a problem with, and then I want to throw it to Bo, is that in that, let's say, overwhelmingly negative review, there is somebody in there who may even left a negative review, but had constructive things to say, had things that may have been really interesting for me or anyone else in the audience to see and make some sense of. But instead, review bomb means so much noise, so much clutter that it's impossible to cherry pick anything out of that mess. I don't think it's the end of the world, but I think it's kind of sad that we can't do that we can't figure out a way. Like, maybe it's on Steam to figure out a way to suss this out better, instead of just saying to us, oh, looks like there's a review bomb. While I appreciate them showing weird activity and giving us a warning about it, the further thing would be cool is if they just took some of that data and said, all right, well, based on our models, these people are just blasting the system, but we found these in the middle here that we think may be useful. I don't know if that's anything they'll ever do or not, but then it just becomes kind of a waste, and I just cringe at the overwhelming negativity from players who I know are, a lot of those people are playing it. Like, they're in there right now playing that game. So that,
well, the amount playing it, like, there's 150,000 negative reviews, and the number of people playing on Steam is only 20,000.
well,
Like,
yeah, but all you had to do is come in there.
The active players 5-1.
But all you had to do is come in here and go, click download, cancel download, go write a review. You didn't have to do anything.
Overwatch 1 probably sold quite a bit. It's the same game, so I'd be willing to bet everyone who's reviewed has probably played this game at some point.
Yeah.
Except for the people memeing, I've been scrolling through the reviews. Most of it is that say that the people who make the porn work harder than the people who work on the Overwatch. That seems, and that's a hurtful thing to say. I think the people.
It's also inaccurate.
But this is.
I don't know. I haven't made any porn, Scott. I don't know which is harder.
No, I'm not saying
made a video game, and I haven't made
what I'm
porn.
saying is them saying that they know when they say that they think what they're saying is obviously not true, but it's a funny troll. Well, the answer is probably that the porn makers may be working really hard. I don't know. Nobody wins in that because the troll doesn't actually care about any of it.
But the point is that, like, I think at a certain point you look at this and you say, like, what have I done to engender this much sentiment? I thought it wasn't this serious. I thought it was safe to put our product on Steam. Not the developers. I'm sure if you asked any developer working at Blizzard about putting this on Steam, they're going to tell you this will get review bombed. Blizzard's fully in control of executive people who spend time on yachts, who barely play video games. I mean, they move their hands around like this probably when they play. Like, I mean, it's just, I think that, and I think you can look at a history of decisions that people have been unhappy about that have compounded, that don't come from development. They come from business. They come from Activision. And people are expressing their frustration, not in a very constructive or good way. But this is, like, at this point, this isn't about reviewing the game. This is about, like, broadcasting. This is a protest. At a certain point, review bombing is potentially a protest. And I think I think for a long time, people threw money at Blizzard in the heyday of WoW and loving StarCraft, and for whatever reason, there's a number of them, not one specific one, that pendulum has swung so far to the other side that nobody's happy. Nobody's in here defending it. And, because some games, maybe they're not overwhelmingly positive, but someone will be like, I hate this game, and you'll find someone who's like, I love this game, it changed my life. Not everyone's going to love Disco Elysium. And like I'm looking at I also was looking at Baldur's Gate's review on Metacritic while you guys were chatting, and like there's 3,000 positives and like 100 negatives, and three of the positives I saw were like best game ever. They just accidentally put 1 or 0 in, but they're actually 10s. I didn't. There were some people who just didn't like either D&D. They don't like the D&D system, or they think the writing's cringe and from Reddit. Like, what are you gonna do? That's their opinion. Like, for the most part, you can trust that this has like I think the people bound. I think two things have happened: is that Baldur's Gate 3 is awesome, and press is trying to make hay out of one guy that said not to raise expectations about it. Maybe some other people said that, but for the most part, it's been I think they're squeezing a very small amount of juice out of a very small amount of criticism in that regard. And I think also these I think probably some idiots did say they wanted to balance things out, but they could be a 12-year-old. No one actually validated who was saying that. Like, it could be someone who's really unwise for very understandable reasons, posting something dumb on the internet. For the most part, you can trust that Baldur's Gate 3 is a huge success, and of course, nothing is liked by 100% of people. So, if that's not you, fine. In the case of Overwatch here, we've like, this is transcended. This is, EA levels of this. The developers here appear to be choked out. Not even choked out. Blizzard, it has like built up a reputation, and whether it's true or not, the perception is they're behaving counter to that, and people are expressing that. I think they've always had kind of a negative grognard audience to begin with. I don't think you ever solved that 100%. Asmongold's not going anywhere until he's, old and dead. No. So he'll be bitching about balance probably for the rest of his life and all that stuff, and people like him. But there's nothing. What people would like to see is like an undeniable victory. Like, that's why I say some people took exception, not in a big way, to saying like, if you look at Baldur's Gate 3 and think it's terrible, you need to see a therapist. Is because even if you don't like it and you hate it, you should be able to look at it and say, I understand why people like it. The same way I can say, I get why people like Zelda. I just not into
your thing.
it.
Sure.
If you're like, it's terrible and something's wrong with the world, it's like, your worldview is like, you've got a lot of bias going in there, and I'm actually worried for you and your worldview, because like, when something's really good, even if you don't like it, it's okay. It doesn't, we don't have to be hipsters about these things constantly. It's not that important. It's just a video game.
Yeah.
And like, even this review bombing, this to me is a protest. This we and people are memeing, sure, but all that to say is like, it's so irrational and so negative for a number of reasons. I don't even think it has anything to do with Overwatch, but Overwatch does exemplify some pretty big things. People hate microtransactions, and they hate game systems with it, even if they pay it. I play Snap, I play Mighty Doom. I actually kind of enjoy those games, but I hate them. In my head, sometimes I'm like, why am I playing this trash? Like, sometimes I'm actively engaging in things because I like the game. They've done meritorious things with the game that makes it frustrating. I love Genshin Impact, but I'm not going to play a gacha game, and that makes me angry. And so, like, if in the world we have, how like you have that inner turmoil where you're like, you're happy to have a job and you're happy to do what you do, but you kind of hate how things are, but you stay in the job, but you actually hate it. I think we're working on products like this, that people want games, but these companies, for better or worse, need to operate in a certain financial reality, and we hate it. And so when Baldur's Gate comes out and rocks everyone's socks off and puts in their terms and conditions that they won't have microtransactions on pain of eldritch horror death, and we cheer them. And we want to say F you to anyone who's ruined games in the past 10 or 20 years. Like the business people, not the devs. Business people are getting told what to do it. We want them to find a big pole and sit on top of it and spin until their eyeballs fall out. That's how we feel about people who have usurped gameplay mechanics for financial Skinner boxes in all kinds of ways. And that's Overwatch 2 was supposed to be like, okay, we'll put up with your microtransactions, but you're going to give us awesome campaign stuff and story. And they're like, well, we gave you the store and the financial systems, but we're not going to give you the PvE game that we made a whole trailer and promised for years for. Understandably, people are upset if they're that passionate about the company that they love.
Yeah,
they're fighting for its soul.
I'm with them,
engraved around that orc. Well. Like, go look at that orc statue. Look at those plates and ask yourself: is Blizzard following those policies?
No,
they 100% are not anymore.
No, they are not.
Like they should be tearing those up, and they want to believe that they're still following them, but they 100% aren't. And I do sympathize with the devs. I mean, we heard about that. We heard stories from the Blizzard campus of employees like putting paper over certain ones of those values as a way of saying like, you're not following this as a form of protest. I'm not trying to eyeball the devs individually and go, you're bad, but they are being run by a corporation that is making decisions that has turned their fans against them because the fans feel turned against by the company. And I think Bo said it really, really well with this as a protest. Yes, there are going to be people, that carry stupid signs to a protest, but that doesn't mean that their protest is less valid than the people that write out a good point.
I guess what I would say now to this, because I actually agree with everything both of you have said.
I wish they'd protest better.
Well, this is what I'm saying. That's actually kind of what I want to get to. Is there a better public place for protesting? And I don't mean random shout outs on Twitter and other social media.
You go to the White House? Is that a cool thing to do?
Well, I mean, look at it this way.
Change.org and get a petition going.
Let me put it this way. If everybody felt like the best way to protest Blizzard was to go to John's house, knock on the door,
a lot of people coming over,
and they would all cram into your place and shit everywhere and not take care of anything and just like kind of mess up the place. That doesn't feel like a good venue for a righteous cause. That's my point. So why is Steam user reviews HQ? I don't know why that's
most
of the gamers,
easy.
but also gamers, like it's video games, right? Nobody's human rights are impeded. Nobody's starving because, you're going to tell a bunch of people, do you want to save Blizzard's soul? Let's buy a plane. Let's all buy plane tickets. You guys can afford plane tickets, right? You got phones, you get plane. You know what I mean? Like
you got phones, you got plane tickets. It's
right? Like it's just not a reality. But side tangent, I've learned look, I like some K-pop, okay? But I don't love that I like K-pop, if that makes any sense. I'm not in love with this part of myself, but I'll just be honest and own it. And I sometimes watch there's this YouTuber, I don't remember what he's called. He's like a 500 view YouTuber. He is I don't even want to be that mean, but he's not very charismatic. He kind of reads off his prepared notes like a robot, all the K-pop news in 5 minutes. Yeah. And I'm constantly like, why am I watching this? But I've learned in this exploration that K-pop fans can also be kind of super insane. But they got nothing on video game fans. Oh, yeah. When they feel like a member of their band is being featured less, irrational crazy shit. Like they got 2 seconds less than the other boys in the latest video. Yeah. They will hire trucks with billboards outside of the company to spam and honk because, Chair Young's not getting featured enough. You know what I mean? They're crazy. And they actually do crazy obsessive shit how things in the music industry and idolization goes.
Yeah, Swifties are like
so
this
maybe
too.
what I'm trying to say is maybe we hire some trucks and horns and park them outside Blizzard and just go bang, bang, bang. But even then that would require money. Gamers, pretty cheap. Like they're pretty cheap people.
They're known for being cheap. Sure, and John's right, because it's easy, and you're kind of saying the same thing. So whether Steam intended it to be or not, this is the place, especially in PC gaming, where people go and complain. Like, because we've given them, they have no other central forum. They have lots of dispersed forums, lots of places to spout off all sorts of stuff. But this is the only one place where I can go and in a nice, neat column, read them all. You know? So why wouldn't they congregate there? I guess what I'm saying is, I wish there was a place they could do this that was meant for this. Like, almost like, I'm not saying Steam should do it, but somebody would just be like, hey, all that complaining you do, let's make a big deal out of it. I guess the difference here is when this is next to a thing that wants you to buy DLC and buy battle passes and take action on getting their game, then having that big, red, long, overwhelmingly negative is a force for, at least in most of these reviewers' eyes, that's a force for change. Yeah. So maybe it's just fine. I guess what I don't like. I don't like when things are built for one thing that get used for something else, even though that's how society works. We often do this. You know, skater kids are going to find rails at the local business park to skate on. You didn't design those rails for those skater kids. You designed them to hold on and go up to your big white collar office. But kids are going to skate on them anyway. So maybe that's all this is. Just let them skate, I guess.
It kind of is. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, and I think it's great. I think Bo said it perfect. It's protest. It's not a review. You shouldn't look at the news story that says Overwatch is the most negatively reviewed game on Steam and go, oh, it's the worst video game ever. If you are taking that from that, you are, 2 + 2 = potato. You're not drawing a logical conclusion from this. That's not what it is. You just need to look at it and go, why is this game by a big company like Blizzard, like, why are they getting such negative reviews for their game? Oh, look at what all is in this game. And if you're genuinely wondering whether or not you should play this video game, it's a good way to find out what's going on with the game. Like, yes, a lot of the meme reviews are sitting right up there at top, but you can look into it and you can go, well, what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree.
New hero looks dope, by the way. I'm watching the trailer on Steam, and she's pretty badass.
Who does on Steam?
I don't know what her name is, but she's got like a Zarya kind of style.
Oh, she a new lady?
We didn't talk about it, but did you hear I'm just going to tell you my honest feedback, and if people don't like the way I phrase it,
then tough boobs.
Go pound sand.
Yeah.
Did you hear the sad, desperate way Blizzard marketed the cinematic around this new character?
No, what?
So you know how usually when they do one of those big like Overwatch cinematics, it's like flooded everywhere. You can go watch it wherever you want. Like they just hit every level. You had to log into Overwatch to see the cinematic. They didn't release it on YouTube.
Really?
They released it only in the game client so that you had to actually load up Overwatch in order to see it.
I don't love that.
Even trailer for a new
one
product?
of the most lame, sad things you've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's a trailer for a new product. It's Ilaria, I think.
It was a new cinematic. I'm sure it's on YouTube now, but when it first came out, even on Twitter, because I remember seeing it, because I still follow a lot of those old Blizzard accounts. Even when I saw it, I was like, really? Because like right there on Twitter, it's like, log in the game to see the new cinematic trailer for blah, blah, blah. I was like, what are you guys doing? This looks so sad.
Yeah.
This looks so sad.
They're doing like marketing that, a paper company would do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know this genie's been out of this bottle for a frickin' long time. You don't hide your thing in the middle of the game just because hey, that'll get more people downloading the thing. Yes, sir, but we as gamers also, no, I don't care. This sounds great. I can just feel some guy in a suit telling him to do this. That's why people are pissed. Yeah. This feels like a suit ran everything.
It's the same guy who made Rise of the Beasts, by the way. I saw that trash pile.
Oh man, Rise of the Beast was not good.
Yeah, we should.
Is it bad?
For later.
Is it bad?
It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't the worst movie in the world, but man, the ending.
No. It is a travesty.
The ending's real bad.
It's not even Autobots. I don't know what Autobot kills cops casually, but that's how the whole thing starts, and it put me in a bad mood.
Oh no. I haven't seen it yet. That bums me out to hear that.
I mean, I'm going to spoil a little bit. Like, usually in a movie, a human meets the Transformers for the first time and he gets all Shia LaBeouf, right?
Yeah.
He's trapped in the car. You've seen it in the trailer.
Sure.
And then they think the car's stolen. And Mirage is just like running cops off the road. First of all, cops don't even chase after a stolen car like that. That made me mad at first. I was like, that's not very realistic. They do not care about stolen cars like that. Let me tell you, that is a fiction.
Yeah.
But if you could believe that for a second, Mirage is totally like running them off the road like Smokey and the Bandit style.
Yeah.
Like injuring cops and killing them.
Well, what's
an Autobot?
Yeah, that is weird.
Autobots
shouldn't do that.
And then you think Optimus would upbraid him or reprimand him or whatever? Nope. He's like, yeah, these humans, we gotta hide from them. I'm like,
Optimus hates people in this movie. Optimus is not cool with human beings.
I've never seen a crankier Optimus Prime in my life.
I don't like that. Any of that.
It's like whoever made it. Then I don't think they even know what Transformers are. I think they wanted to make Fast
on the shelf.
I think they wanted to make Fast and the Furious and got stuck with the Transformers movie.
That bums me out. I thought there'd be something.
Also, the Beast not in it a lot.
Really?
I know we talked about this, but the thing you're excited to see in the movie are at the very beginning and the very end.
Unless you like the bird. There's a lot of the bird.
There's a lot of the bird? The bird.
There's a lot of the bird.
Oh, the bird, the beast boar bird lady or guy or whatever it is.
One last thing, but my poor boy Wheeljack. I don't know.
Yeah.
There must have been a lot of drugs available like on set or something like that, or wherever they were designing this thing. It looks nothing like.
Wait, was it
yeah, Wheeljack they look nothing alike. I mean, it's been memed already. I already knew about it ahead of time, so I wasn't that upset about it because I knew.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah,
but they just after the promise of Bumblebee looking like they're getting back to G1, they're like, what if we didn't? What if we just did whatever?
Oh,
they do look better than any of the Michael Bay Transformers, but yeah, it was not a good movie. Bumblebee still remains the only good Transformers movie. Even then, you've got your scene where there's a giant robot messing up somebody's house in a clumsy way. But
but at least it was shoot.
Look at that. Look. And they kind of, I guess because they go to South America, they give him like, a Hispanic vibe just cause.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing is honestly, when he started, when Mirage was like totally like killing cops, like no problem. Not that I have a huge thing about cops, but Autobots defend life as precious.
Yeah, all human life.
It's like super. You know how Superman got trashed because all of a sudden Superman's fine with collateral damage. Like, millions had to die. Oh well. It's like that's not Superman, idiots. Like whoever made this movie. And same here. Like Autobots are very. That's what makes them endearing. They're so careful around the humans. They do not want to kill a single one.
Yeah.
And that's
also
that's
it's all a great big setup so that they can tie in Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Really?
Yeah.
They're doing the Hasbro.
Hey, sorry, I'm going to spoil Rise of Beast. The big surprise at the end is that they try to hire the kid to go work for G.I. Joe.
Shit. So it is the Hasbro cinematic universe. They're trying to get that going.
That's what they're going for.
Without any writing talent. They hired someone on Fiverr to write it, I think, or a homeless
And
guy.
I'm super into Transformers right now. And I can forgive a lot because I'm watching the G1 cartoon and holy shit. People just didn't care back then in TV. It's amazing. I watched a scene where somebody like Bumblebee's coming towards a cave and it cuts to, I don't remember who it is, might be Wheeljack, but he's like, oh, here comes Bumblebee. And Bumblebee is standing right next to him when he says it because they didn't remove him from whatever animation they were reusing for him to say that line.
Oh, they didn't care. They didn't care about that.
He's just standing there.
No, it was the standard.
People just disappear. There's it's just crazy. It's so insane. Megatron died in one episode seemingly, and then he was just back the next episode. And then another episode after that, they went back and acknowledged that he died previously and is now suddenly back alive. It's so nuts. Yeah. I love how much they just don't care. Back then, they're just like, look. Gotta show you some toys.
That was the whole era.
We gotta move toys.
That whole era was that. There was the continuity was always bad. The animations quality was garbage. Like that was the time. That was the era. And I love it for all the same reasons you do. But I don't know. They had an opportunity this new one, so I'm bummed out to hear this.
Yeah, me too. I was very bummed. The Barbie movie, especially after the Barbie movie, I'm just like, oh, there's no excuse for this. Like,
Yeah.
if you can make a Barbie movie amazing, there's no excuse for the level of disrespect they show the Transformers.
Yeah, if you can make Barbie good, what are you doing? Transformers are easy compared to that. Are you kidding? They're giant robots.
They're cool by default. You just have to put some on the screen and people are like, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And they have to look good, though. Like,
so
that
it's
is
real embarrassing how much they F it up because it's not that hard to make it awesome.
I'm annoyed. All right.
Yeah.
I watched
Anyways,
Shockwave today on a cartoon use mind control powers to try and get a dad to shoot his son with a gun. And I was like, what is this cartoon? This is amazing.
Shockwave is kind of crazy.
I remember that. Shockwave had moments. He had stuff in that early stuff.
But I wanted to say one more thing before we moved on.
Yeah, please.
In that I was talking with the K-pop creator and just chat room all lit up thinking it was Tom Merritt. And I want to say I was not the low charisma person who just reads is not Tom Merritt. He's very charismatic and I love listening to him talk.
Yeah, no, Tom's great. But Tom is
not Tom Merritt, okay? Just in case.
He's the most knowledgeable about K-pop of anyone I know. He's so crazy.
I'm sure he is, and he's charismatic and beautiful, and not who I was talking about in any way, shape, or form. So just don't.
Yeah, that ain't him.
I'm nipping that in the bud now. Okay, it's someone you never heard of.
Yeah, keep those emails to yourselves. All right, let's do this. We're gonna get into what we played this week. Oh boy, guess what we're gonna talk about, everybody? It's a little game you may have heard of last week, but we're gonna talk about it some more. Baldur's Gate 3 was kind of the big one. I managed to carve out a little bit in a couple of others, but they were so use case specific that you'll understand why Baldur's Gate still ended up dominating everybody's time. So yeah, let's talk about it. We're all in kind of different places. I've played the game for maybe 20 hours, so I'm a lot earlier than you guys. I just didn't have the game time I wanted for it. So I'm literally dorking around in Act 1 and I'm now on my third return to the Goblin Zone area, so I can try to clear out that whole Goblin underground
third
thing.
Return?
Yeah, the reason I did that is there was some stuff that happened in there that kind of solved what I needed to do to progress, but it kept bugging me that I didn't do certain things. It's like, well, I never did do anything with that not hobgoblin. What are they called? Maybe it is.
There's hobgoblins.
I think it is the hobgoblin, the big red one that was like preaching to them all in there.
Yeah, Draz Reglin or something like that.
Yeah, can never remember names, but anyway.
By the way, just a quick thing. We did say the name of the game this time, right?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3. That's what we're going to be talking about for the next long time. You wonder, hey, you, who's looking at a second screen right now. I'm talking directly to you. I knew you were distracted listening to this podcast.
Yeah. Because you're probably
talking about Baldur's Gate 3 right now.
Yeah, probably the game you're playing on your second screen right now. That's the game we're going to be talking about.
Yep.
Well, anyway, I just kept wanting to go back and fiddle, and the game's really good at that. Since we last talked, you know how I hadn't found Kekalon?
What's
his name?
Scott just started cussing at me. And I don't know why.
Asterillion. What's his name? The vampire. Asterion. Can't remember their names. I immediately went and got him. I immediately went and got him last week after we talked, because you know how I didn't find him? Well, I went and found him.
Yeah.
I hate to say this. Okay, he drives me crazy, and he annoys the living shit out of me. However, he's really good at all his kit. And I haven't respect anybody. I'm kind of like this run through. I'm treating it all as like, well, this is how I find people. I'm not going to go. Okay. I'm not making Withers do that stuff until either later or another playthrough.
You met Withers, though.
Oh, yeah. I got Withers. He's all good.
You still want to date Withers? Because that was your big proclamation.
Yeah, I'm gonna romance Withers until he gives in. Because
I got to tell you, I had an unexpected interaction with Withers. I'm not going to say what because it's in the spoiler territory, but he gets involved in camp politics. He's not just a benign res your team guy.
Yeah.
He is. He definitely, like, I was surprised too that he has opinions. I was like, I thought you were just a res bot, but like, no, he pays attention.
Not only that,
it involved a child, which concerned me.
Oh.
All of a sudden, there's a child in camp, and he's getting involved in the child's fate, and I'm like,
oh, maybe he plays a bigger role down the road, and you just don't know it yet.
I don't know.
I mean, he's got all kinds of jewelry and weird stuff for a dead guy. There's something up with him. He's just not an undead guy. Something more going on there. He's like got style.
He hates answering questions, clearly.
Yeah, he doesn't like to be ambiguous for sure.
It was my favorite interaction with him was the time where I got to say like, "Hey Withers, can you just break that down for me in basic English?" And he just goes, "No." I was like, "Okay, thanks."
But Bo saved my life last week with the. I think John learned it then too about sending all your crap back to camp. So you could really stock up on whatever, sell a ton of things, give those things to better your relationships with vendors and all that stuff. So I've been doing a lot of that. The reason I'm back fiddling with goblins again is I think I want to just clear them out. They're all bastards and they all should die. So I'm just going to slowly work my way in there and kill all those guys. Even though I've done enough to move on, like story-wise, there are other quests outside. There's plenty to do. I got all bunged up in there, and currently that's where I'm saved.
Scott's like a slow Anakin.
Yeah.
He successfully rescued his mother, and then he went, "You know what? I don't like that they took my mom.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back there."
I gotta
he went back and he killed all the warriors, and then he went, "I'm still angry.
You're not wrong.
I'm going to go kill the women and kids, too. I'm going to get them all, actually."
I got to tell you, I cleaned them out, too.
Did you?
I did as well,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I talked to them all first and got lay of the land, got as much intel as I could. But ultimately, I'm like, they're goblins.
Yeah, they're goblins. And I feel like I have a goblin completionist attitude. I want to take them all down. They all suck. Every damn one.
But the thing that you don't really sort of get, because it's kind of fun at first, is like, oh, there's some dialogue, there's some intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you play the game, pretty much anything you can kill, in this game, you can also talk to and negotiate with. Unless it's like, some avatar of death or, some undead, like not everything. Even then, undead will talk to you. Like everything will talk to you if you let it. So, there's no like, I just want to kill some dudes, because like in the back of your head, every time you just engage in a fight with something, you're like, yeah, but maybe they had some cool content I'm missing from talking to them. Like, should I really just be assaulting everything just because they look, terrible? And,
yeah, actually, I'm always a little sad when I didn't get to, or I'll save scum a couple of times because I'm like, I really want to talk to that goblin before I kill him. I probably will still kill him, but I'd like to see if there's anything else going on. And sure enough, there have been times where it's an enlightening conversation, or I end up with a piece of gear I didn't expect, or because I'm high in a certain stat and I roll nice, I end up going a different way, or that guy just leaves. He just takes off, or whatever, right? Like, that's the beauty of the game. This is the week where it really sunk in that I'm playing it's a true sandbox game. Meticulously detailed and crafted, but sandboxy as hell. Like, the rules are the rules, the characters are the characters, your strengths and weaknesses, your spells and abilities, all those things are there. They're constructs and they're real, and you adhere to them. But then what you get to do in that world is so immersive and emergent. I hear and see things that, again, I'm not even sure anyone else has heard or seen. I know there have been things happen I saw in a video on YouTube that did not happen when I got to a certain NPC because my stats were different or whatever. Like when I found the dude having sex with the big old lady in the barn the first time.
Yeah.
Every video
I hobgoblin banging an ogre.
Yeah, ogre and hobgoblin. And I go in there and I thought, okay, well, I know what this is going to be. He's going to try to defend his manhood, and he's going to go on and on about how awesome he is, and she's going to complain. Because I've seen this in somebody's video. So I'm like,
I don't think he was using his manhood. It's probably too small, right? It's
well,
the whole body.
According
I don't
to
know. He's bragging about it.
Yeah, he was bragging about it.
Big.
Yeah,
in the videos I saw, he was bragging about it. But in my playthrough,
I might have thought about it too hard. Sorry.
in my playthrough, all they did was coitus interruptus and then try to kill me. And I thought, did I do something wrong? I reloaded. I'm right outside the barn. Reload, do the whole thing again. This time, Shadowheart's talking. Maybe she can do something different. She's got different sensibilities, and abilities. And sure enough, it didn't matter what I did, what combination I did. I was missing somebody who would help them keep talking and not just create a fight in that barn. I had to fight them.
Yeah, because I didn't fight them. They left for me.
Yeah, see, that to me, that just tells me how insane this game is. And it's the most, I think what not a lot of people have said out loud, but I feel like this is obvious. This is the first time somebody has been able to figure out how to take what makes D&D D&D in the first place and make the video game feel like you're doing that. Because previous D&D games, including Baldur's Gate games, they were awesome. They're great. Mechanically cool. Like, all their ideas are neat. It's all neat. But never did I feel like I wasn't at least on some rails with those. This feels like the rails are 100% mine. I am a autonomous individual making choices that no one else is going to make, and only I control my destiny. Even though I know underneath it all there is an arcing story, there are things that are going to go a certain way, but even then, not really, because there's so many endings to this thing. What was it, 17 that we read? 17,000 ways it can end.
Permutations. I don't.
Not
you call
endings,
them separate endings, but it's not like 17,000 different films or something like that.
Right. And so, but that's once you start getting in far enough where you realize that's really happening in the game. Wow, it's just like this feeling of, this is the first time a game is doing this to me. And the closest I ever felt to this was like maybe Dragon Age Origins, or maybe, oh gosh, and tabletop D&D. That's it.
I think honest. This is the tough thing about choice-based games, because you're only seeing what you're seeing. You don't appreciate what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
I think a lot of people are going to look at this game and have criticisms, feel like they're like I think you can easily mistake this for feeling like not as flexible as you think it is. Because you're only seeing the option. Having gone as far as Act 2, you definitely start to see decisions and sides chosen take shape in more meaningful ways as well. Like, Act 1 really is just laying the groundwork for the variability you're going to see later on with the choices you've made. And they reference your choices. And Act 1 is gigantic.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like, it's not like you did like 3 decision points in a Telltale game, and in episode 2 they remember them. Right. You're like, I think I made like 70 decisions, and different NPCs react, including the people at your camp, differently. I do not think if you're to actually, it's protected IP, so I don't know, but if there was a way to see the source code or map out the actual, maybe we'll get there at some point when some enthusiasts fully map out the variabilities in the game and it gets data mined. Just how intricate of a web of decisions is involved in this game, because it might be the first or greatest of its kind in that regard. And that's not flashy graphics you can throw in a trailer. You just have to experience it and then understand how it's working behind the scenes, because that's why I think it feels like a DM. I think the games also behave in unpredictable ways that like make you have to turn off your video game brain. A lot of people who play video games have already played a lot of video games. Right. It takes a lot to stun and surprise us.
Yeah. And I'll give a great example of that. Like, the moment for me, because a lot of, like, I've played games with choice and decisions and branching paths and all of that. So while this game has a lot and I'm impressed by it, the first time where I was like, holy shit, that worked. This is D&D. I went into a room. I had to rotate some stuff for a puzzle. I was trying to rotate something, and I failed an athletics check. Not surprising. I'm playing a bard. I have an 8 strength. Wasn't going to probably happen. So I go, all right. So I get Karlak up there. She's very strong. She happens to fail it too.
Oh, boy.
Okay, let's get Lizelle in there. She's strong too. Let's see what she does. Nope, she failed as well. All right, Will, I hope you rolled well, despite the fact that you're a warlock. I hope you do quite well. Nope, he fails as well.
Oops.
But I really want to solve this puzzle. I don't want to turn around and go, well, that's it. It's done. So on a just hunch and not wanting to give up, I grabbed a bottle of grease and threw it at the device. And my bard was successfully able to push and rotate it after that because the grease loosened it up.
Right.
Yep.
And it's like, that worked. That's amazing. Yeah. That's incredible that works. Yeah. Like, it's not just about the big, like, oh my gosh, like, what a crazy story moment. Sometimes it's as simple as like, I did this because that's how it would work. That's the kind of puzzle I would solve as a player of D&D. and all of a sudden it actually worked that way, and the game allowed for it, and that was so cool. That to me opened up so many more options. Because like you were saying, both, I had to get past the gamer brain. Gamer brain is I would click it and it would bring up a dialogue and it would say, "You have grease in your inventory. Do you want to apply grease?" Because it would want to show how clever
show you
it
how
could
to
be,
do it.
right?
Yeah.
Instead, it was just like, no, you figure it out organically.
Yeah,
And I did, and I felt rewarded.
And
for
you
it.
should, and I've had a few moments like that as well. I guess what I was trying to express before, and I'll say it this way: when I was younger, when I was a kid, video games felt like magic to me. Like there was magic happening underneath the controls and the visuals. And then you become a jaded gamer who's played a lot of games, a lot of genres, a lot of stuff over a long period of time. And it's really hard to surprise you. And the feeling of, at least the magic feeling, gives way to things like, my video card won't run this, or I can tell this game's only got 14 of these, but it makes you think there's more, but really there aren't. You can kind of see below, you can see the man behind the mirror, sort of. This is the first time since I was a kid where I felt like something magical, otherworldly was happening behind the scenes and happening on my computer somehow.
That's the best way to put it. Like, even starting Final Fantasy VII Remake, once you see the item system, you're like, I can predict how the next 80 hours are going to go. I'm still going to play and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get sword upgrades. I'm going to slot things into it. I understand what the item range is and what my guy will do. This feels like anything's possible, particularly from a narrative perspective. I'm actually scared of losing people. I'm scared of, like, in this game, you'll get companions, and if you ignore them, they'll piss off. They might even fight you. I don't know if it's too early to talk about the relationship thing yet or not, but like, this was a huge moment for me. Was Lizelle, she gets Yankee, they get dragons. I'm a dragonborn, and she wanted to bang me. And she's like, the fact that your dragon's kind of hot. And she's very domineering. She's like, bang, and then get out of my life. Like, she's not really like, she just kind of wants to use you for personal pleasure, basically. So I was like, okay, that's cool. It's fun. And then Karlach joins the team. And as you know, we're all, I think we're all fans of Karlach, but John and I are like, yeah, Karlach.
Oh, I like her a lot.
Last night.
Yeah, she's great.
And Karlach will, once she warms up to you, she'll be like, I'm on fire, so I'm going to burn your dick off. So let's not have sex. But like, let's hurry up and get this thing cooled down. And I will, I think she says at one point, like, I'm going to grind your bones into dust with how like hard she's going to ride you or something like that.
Oh my gosh,
like
dude.
And you're just like, I'm into this. Let's do this. Right. So I'm like, okay, so my plan is Lizelle for now. And Lizelle doesn't really seem to care that much. And she's a kind of a turbo bitch, and it's kind of fun and all, but Karlach, right? And then, and because she doesn't care, like an Asterian's kind of fun. I kind of banged Asterian too, just because I was like, yeah, let's just do some.
Both slept with that.
How many opportunities do you get to have like gay vampire sex? I was like, all right, let's see this.
I mean, so far in life, none.
But,
yeah.
So, like I was
I'm not 40 yet, so who knows?
I am such. So this game is exposed, and you're making it worse a little bit. It's exposed something in me. I am such a monogamous prude.
Well, hang on.
When it comes to relationships. All right, keep going.
Let me tell you my story, because I think you'll like where this goes.
All
so
right.
anyways, I bang Asterian. And then I get to camp one day, and then Will is dancing. And I'm like, okay, Will. And it's apparently the start of a romance. He's dancing and he's flirting with me. Yeah. And then I go in for a kiss. And then I'm like, so I had just gone through the creche with Lizelle, and I go in for a kiss, like I'm making out with Will. And he's like, there's an option to have more, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm ready for this. I'm banging too much. I have too much going on right now. I'm like, I'm too much. I don't need to bang Will. I'm good, And then what happens is I talk to Gail, and Gail's like, so you and Will, eh? And I'm like, yo, Gail, what the hell? You just taught me a magic spell. And he's like, I thought we had more to it. I'm like, when? Yeah. And so Gail's like, I don't know how we can go on knowing I love you, but you don't return. And I'm like, I love having you. You're a great pal. Like, I wish the best for you, but I just don't feel that way about you. I got 5 other people I'm like trying to sort my feelings out with, and Gail's the one feeling jilted. So I'm like, yo, Gail, no thanks. And then I'm like, I need to settle this game down. I go to Will, and I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah.
And then and then I don't know, you're off adventuring. You're doing and I go to Asterion. No, not yet. I do some adventuring stuff. A few nights pass or whatever, and then Lizelle comes to me and is like, "I've never loved anyone like I love you." And I've got this hard shell of an exterior, but like I realize I want to show you my soft side and I want to surrender myself to you. Like just this whole other 180 on the character. All of a sudden, she is like the loveliest character in the game. And she asked me to commit.
Yeah.
Say I'm yours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm caught up in the moment. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, shit, I got to break up with like 15 people now.
Yeah. Everyone.
And so like,
you do.
Yep.
I'm like,
you do.
So now I go to Karlak and I'm like, I know, and I just fixed her, so she's ready to go. Like we're ready to have sex. And I'm like, Karlak, man, we can't bang. Sorry. And she's like, what? Really? I've been waiting 10 years to have sex with someone. You said you would do it, and now you're giving me, blue balls or whatever.
Just
I'm
send
like,
it over to Gale.
I'm sure you'll find someone else to grind into
Gale's
the
ready
ground.
to go. Go find Gale. He's good.
So, yeah, exactly.
Gale's greatest magic trick is being in relationships that nobody else knows about.
Exactly.
So Karlak, I'm like, I made a commitment now to. So this is where the monogamous thinks of it. Like, I made a commitment, and not only did I make a commitment, Scott, and this is minor spoilers, but I'm so excited. I'm going to do it. If you make a commitment to a Githyank, Lizelle particularly, but they have Klingon-like rituals. She's like, we got to fight each other to prove how much we love each other. So we get into combat, and she kicks the shit out of me. She's a fighter with 15 attacks, and I'm a bard. I do one attack, and she's just like, kabab, 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 kabab. And then after, she's like, I'll never do that to you again. You're mine, and
Yeah.
And now, like, anyways, I had to go break up with Asterion. I'm like, Asterion, it's done. Don't want anything to do with you. It was fun. And he's all like, oh, really? and I'm like, Karlak, you're going to have to find someone else to resolve your sexual issues with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that whole dance thing, I was just in a place.
All right.
Find someone else. So nobody, I think I've turned down everyone's sex temperature.
Yeah.
And Karlak and I are thinking now when we either of us fall in battle, we cry out like, "Oh no, Lizelle!" Or she's like, "Oh no."
Yeah, that is a good touch. I like that. That's in there.
So I'm like in a committed relationship now with Lizelle, which is why I have her up on my screen at the moment.
It's funny because Bo's story is eerily similar to mine, which was So if you all want to know the reason I have played multiple playthroughs of the start of this game, it's because I didn't find Karlak in what I felt was a fast enough time frame. I met her and immediately was like, she's the best. I could have done all this stuff with her. I found her on my way to Act 2 is basically when I bumped into her. I found her late, really late.
Very
and I was
late.
so mad about it. I started the whole damn game over because I was like, I want her in my team. I love her. She's great. I want her on this journey with me, and she's going to be my romance companion for sure. 100% guaranteed. So that's why I started the second playthrough. But I am so into Lizelle that before I even got to Karlak, she came to me and did the whole like, we're going to have sex tonight. And I was like, yes, we are. Even though I'd already made up my mind at that time that this was going to be a Karlak playthrough for sure. I was like, nope, you're right. We are. Yes, ma'am. And I was like, well, it'll be fine. It's just sex. And I didn't even know Karlak yet, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So I kind of spent a chunk of the game, like Bo, juggling the two of them and turning down other people because, yeah, Gale was like, we're in a relationship. I was like, when did this happen? It didn't happen, man. You made it up.
Yeah.
Will did his dance, and I was just like, hey, yeah, that's a nice dance. I'm not the partner for you, though. And he was sad. And Asterion and I, it's so funny. In the first playthrough, he and I were good buds. I don't feel like I did anything different. He didn't get to adventure with me in the first playthrough either. In this one, he just doesn't like me.
Really?
The first time I played through this game, he wanted to hook up, and he was even saying like, I want to have sex. And I was just like, chill out, Vampire Man. This one, he didn't offer. He wasn't into it, and I wasn't into him. He and I just do not get along this playthrough for some reason.
That's wild.
That's funny.
Don't know where that came from, but he is manipulating me. I don't really like it, and we aren't getting along as a result. But anyway, I got to a similar point. I was working on getting Karlak cooled down so we could touch, and I finally got that quest complete. And she was like, next time we go to bed, I'm going to see you. And I was like, oh, this could be great. This is going to be the moment. I went to bed, and Lizelle shows up and professes her undying love for me and wants to have ritual combat. And I said yes, because I was so into it, like Bo. And then I did it, and we partnered up. And then all of a sudden, Karlak, my only real options with her is to break things off. And I was like, I guess even though that was the goal, I guess that's what I'm going to do. And I felt so bad doing it. I reloaded a save and had to start over and was like, oh my gosh, I got to go through so much stuff again. And so I went to Lizelle before she professed her love for me. And I was just like, Lizelle, whatever this is between us, it's over. And she's like, good, fine. And I was like, good, fine. I walked over and I was like, all right, it's done. And
so you saw what the Lizelle aspect was, and then you were like, because Karlak, when you break up with breaking up with any of them is actually like legit. I feel like I'm actually breaking up with someone. Like I'm actually feeling a little like, oh no.
They certainly make you feel it with a few. Karlak was one that really got me because I did really like her, and she makes you feel it. Lizelle wasn't that bad because I was like, hey, we're breaking up, and she was like, fine. And she's like, fine, your loss. I was like, okay, bye. She's like, goodbye. That was it. She just didn't seem to care. But I was in a similar boat. I did end up sticking with Karlak. She's the best. But
it's almost like you're dating Nash Magard of the Solar Mines because she's got a heart, dragon heart, mechanical heart. She's
don't say that.
I'm
She's
just saying.
nicer than Nash is. She's certainly more attractive.
Scott with the chaos mind magic. Yeah. He's like, every time you think of Karlak, just think of Nash Magard.
There's still the same amount of penises between the two of you.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
But yeah, so. Anyways, that's the emergent gameplay. I feel it's like it doesn't feel like a dating sim, but I feel like I'm worried that my decisions about how I treat people is somehow going to come up and affect me in later on in the story. Like I have a legit fear, like
probably will.
These decisions matter. Yeah. So I'm curious about you, Scott. How's
Shadowheart, Scott?
So this is where I'm at on the romance scale for BG3. I was smitten with her from moment one.
Yeah.
And I will not romance anyone else in the game. I will for this playthrough.
That's what they all say.
I will only romance her. And even when others have made, what's the word? Not passes, but they've made, moves.
Well, there's passes and there's like professions of love, which I don't know. I wasn't expecting it. Lizelle was the last person I was expecting. I got from her.
Same, and she's actually being the most friendly with me, which is weird because we fight when we're out in the world, but when we're in camp, she wants to talk to me all the time and wants to be nice, and so I don't know what that's about. But part of why I am chasing after Shadowheart now is A, she's totally my type. B, I was hooked on that character the minute I saw her, and thirdly, she is playing very, very hard to get right now for my character. And I don't know if it's like what John's having with Asterion or if it's something else, but she is just like not cold, but just I cannot get her to a dialogue tree where it's anything more than, well, all right, I guess that's it. I guess I'm happy we're all here together, but I'd be okay alone too. Anyway, got to go. Like it's just a very cold shoulder.
That's gonna beat this game, having dedicated his life to Shadowheart, and she's not gonna be interested.
I know
through the entire game.
I know it. I know. I have this sinking feeling that something bad's gonna happen to her anyway.
So I can. Well, it's not a spoiler, but like just if you get to know her God a little bit, like she's a cleric. She's devoted her life to Shar.
Yeah,
and that religion. So she definitely likes things that are in line. Like it's like dating someone who's really into Christianity or Islam or whatever.
She's just very
You're gonna
religious,
like it when you're like you don't walk up to them and say like, man, God damn it, and they'll be like, oh, don't say that. Like you're gonna have to be like, I read a bit of the Bible the other day. It's a pretty cool book. I think that's kind of how you have to approach her. I just will say she's a devout, she's a cleric. She's devout.
I wish she
I'll
was
just say,
you know.
stick with it, Scott. Learn more about her. I have some ideas on why and where things might go. I'll leave them for you to find out. But I also think it would be extremely funny if you put like so many hours into this game and she just doesn't care and isn't into you the whole time.
Yeah, the thing to know about Shar is like the death god. So she's
right. There's some dark
God
business going on.
It's still cool, but like just you're like, you may find like sometimes with her particularly, I find myself at odds. Like she'll disapprove of things.
Yeah.
If they're not in alignment with obscurity and shadow and death and stuff. So
they apparently changed her hair a bunch in the progress of the game. Not that this is important, but various stages of the game's release, she had different hair, and I don't know if you can change that in the game. Maybe you can. I don't think so.
They are working on a patch to let the character change their appearance, because once you set your appearance, you're locked in for the entire game.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll let you, do some hairstyles.
Because the reason I want to do it is her hair sucks, and look, I'm not going to tell her that because I really want her I'm looking for a life with her later after all her adventuring's over.
You're already trying to change her. You don't.
If you can't handle her with bangs, you can't handle her at all, Scott.
Her default
what I will
haircut
say
sucks.
is that it does grow on you. I think I know what you mean. I didn't love the look either, but now I'm kind of like, I'm into it. Like I think it looks like Shadowheart. I think with some time you'll grow to like
but
it.
She is the core element of my entire team. So who I have back in camp right now is Lizelle, Gale, freaking rot in there, Gale. You can just sit on your ass. I'll bring you magic shit here and there and feed it to you.
You just named two amazing characters that you have stuck at camp.
I like
Lizelle's
him.
a tragedy, but I find it funny that when he's like, I hate I don't know why.
I don't know why I don't like Gale either. I can't really put my finger on it.
So funny.
But yeah. Gale's in camp, keeping them all company, whatever. He seems happy as pig and poo to be in there. He doesn't care. So whenever I come back to him, he's like, I'm not hungry enough for a magic item, but I'm glad you checked. With a little wink, and I'm on my way. You know what it is? Gale is Matt Berry of this video game.
Yeah.
If Gale was Matt Berry, he would be on my team all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And I love Matt Berry, but in
I'd
world...
be romancing that character. Actually, I'd be like, sorry, Lizelle, I need to be with Matt Berry.
But it was
New York City.
It was a hard choice though, and I know I can respec other characters to be good at opening stuff and as good with his rogue skills as currently constituted in Asterion, but I just haven't done it, and I don't think I'm going to. So I'm just going to keep him out there with me. He's every once in a while going to go, oh, sure, could use some blood. I have him. Oh, I got a question for you guys. When he does Vampire Bite in the wild, like I have him do that to a goblin or something, is that satiating his need that he always talks about back at camp and having to go kill squirrels to get it or whatever?
He gets a buff.
I don't know. He's not on my team.
I think he gets a buff. I know, because like if you so you let him bite you, and that's a one-time thing. But
I did not. That's probably why he doesn't like me.
Oh,
so when
probably.
you let him bite you, I let him drain. It was
I did.
Kind of,
yeah.
It was kind of erotic, It was interesting.
Well, I didn't do it for eroticism, but I.
and then, but then you're like, I don't know. Isn't it kind of tense? You're like, let him. It prompts you like 3 times to let him keep drinking, or no, this is too much.
No, it's very good at doing that because really uncomfortable. Yeah,
he's getting super into it, and you're like, oh, okay.
I don't like
it. But no, he gets a buff after that cinematic. Where he has like +1 to everything, and you get a debuff -1 from getting your blood sucked.
That's right.
But then he's strong enough to go eat animals, and you agree. I agreed not to do it. I'm like, I don't think I want to do that again. And he's like, that's fine. I have enough power to go get bears and shit now. So all right. So you get bite, but I've only ever bitten like undead that poisons him.
Oh really?
Yeah. If you bite like nasty things, it doesn't. So I actually haven't sent him out on a hunt for a legit like tasty meal, because I should have done that actually.
It's I get lots of I've killed goblins with a single bite. Like he rolls real well with his bite.
I think goblins have nasty blood. I think they're nasty.
Well, now that I know that you guys all let him bite you, now I know why Asterion probably doesn't like me. Well, because so the first time I was much more open to like what he did because when you guys got that cutscene where he wake up and he's over you,
He's hovering over you. Yeah.
did you have puncture marks in your neck? Because
Yes.
the first time I saw that scene, I did not. The second time I saw that scene, I did. And there was a part of me, the first time I had it, there was no bite marks or anything. I just like, I woke up as he was leaning in and caught him. And I don't know if it was like, maybe there was a perception check that got rolled that got
probably a
passed or
perception.
something.
Yeah.
But there were no bite marks on my neck. So I was like, okay, I get it. You're a vampire. You tried to bite me. I don't really feel comfortable with you taking my blood. So cut it out. I'm not going to let you drink more, but it's fine. The second time, when I woke up and I had holes in my neck, I was like, you're not in my party. You're at the camp.
Yeah.
This is presumptuous to a extremely high degree that you actually bit me without permission. So when he was like, can I have just a nibble? I was like, fuck no. Get out of here. No, you can't.
Yeah, he's really in your face on that stuff.
He's kind of sympathetic. He didn't ask to be a vampire.
No, and
It
he's not.
doesn't matter. He could have asked permission.
The
He
main thing
didn't
he's
ask
not. he's-
permission. I had
true.
2 holes
It's
in my
true.
neck.
Yeah,
True.
you're
Good point.
right
Great
about
point.
that.
Great point.
I
Yeah.
cannot remember if the holes were there after or before. Now that I think about it, I think he didn't sneak one in, or at least that I know of. But also,
It's hard to tell.
I'm past the damage, or sorry, the disadvantage I had, or the -1 to whatever stats it was. That's gone now. So I don't know if I slept that off, or
Yeah.
do
It's
you?
a long
Okay.
rest. Still clear it up.
All
Yeah.
right. So
You
that's
just have to
all.
recover. But I was going to say I think I think what they lean on with that, John, is that it's like, how do you tell normal humans that you're a vampire? You know, without
Yeah.
like he doesn't want to. He's found other tadpole people. He's trying to survive with you guys. He's he's trying not to tell people, but he needs to eat. You know,
I'm sympathetic, but you bit without consent, and that was too much. If we had had this conversation, if I'd known he was a vampire, like maybe a different story. But this was all of a sudden he's real honest and humble when he gets caught.
Yeah,
I don't like it. Like,
You guys
look,
haven't
I think
slept-
any parent is gonna take this way. Any parent knows how a kid acts when they get caught in the act versus when they ask for permission for something. And so as a parent, it's very important that you ask permission and not the like, oh, I got caught and now I'm very sorry.
Now, yeah, the whole ask forgiveness is easier than permission or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most
So
of you haven't slept with him, right?
No, hell no.
no,
Well,
I
do you
don't,
know-
I
do you-
don't get
do you-
along with him.
Do you know about what's on his body?
No. Is there a whole thing
Interesting.
there?
Not-
See, this is
not
what I'm
me.
saying about this game.
A whole side quest opened up for me because I slept with him. Like, it's not because I slept with him, but information came to light about something about Asterion that resulted in other key NPCs in the game getting involved in what's happening right now with him.
Really?
And it just occurred to me that I'm like, wait, you guys didn't sleep with him, so you don't know about the blank on his blank.
Okay, but you just described another example of this game subverting all expectation.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like on surface value, I don't think people. I think sometimes when people criticize it, even that I see them playing it, and they're like, I don't know about this game. The web of this if-thens,
Yeah.
the web that is there. I think we might be looking at something that's not been as attempted as complex as what this is potentially.
Yeah.
That's not that I'm trying to draw a direct one-to-one comparison, but that's the exact same reason why I get a little annoyed with the particular criticism of Mass Effect only had 3 endings
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of statement.
Yeah.
Like
People
I'm
are
not
so
saying you
happy
have to
about
like
Mass
Mass Effect. I'm not saying you have to like Mass Effect 3, but like what you're describing is exactly like your experience in 3 is very contingent on what you did in 1 and 2 across the board. And just because it ends in like kind of broadly one of 5 different ways, like all of 3 is different based on previous decisions you've made. And you don't get to see what those other decisions are because you're seeing the result of your playthrough. But that's why I don't like that. That is a criticism, is that, oh, it's just none of your decisions mattered. Well, it mattered. It mattered throughout the whole game. And I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 is the same thing. Like, you're saying that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much I missed. But I also hear some of the things you guys are saying, and I'm like, I don't think they know about stuff too.
Yeah.
So I think that's super cool. I think like it's incredible to hear other people talk about their experiences, and it's so hard because you just kind of got to bite your tongue and be like, oh, they'll figure it out or they won't. We'll see how it goes.
And like I say, that nothing in a video game has felt like this. It usually you can see the seams, or you can see, and not that that's bad. Like plenty of video games are linear or have elements that are predictable or whatever, and that's fine. They're entertaining. We have a good time with them. But I've yet to play a game, maybe ever. That sounds hyperbolic, but I cannot think of another game where I felt this sandboxed. Not in the boxed in kind of way, but in the my fate is entirely up to me kind of way.
I think it's important to stress narrative sandbox, because I think when people think sandbox, they think Minecraft or something.
Yeah, that's an important distinction. Yeah, I agree.
But the word still applies. It's just not on the vector you're thinking. If you're thinking sandbox, because I mean, Larian games do have, like John with the Grease example, there is some sandboxiness to it, but I think if you're used to Minecraft or stuff like that, you're not gonna. It's not gonna make sense to you.
Sure.
It's understanding like the cause and effect and reactivity in the narrative that feels sandboxy.
But also the 5E rules applied to that sandboxiness. Like me being able to walk into a room and have an interaction that went completely different for me, based purely on stats, than it did for you. It's
just even combat. So like I'm in an area. I'm gonna be spoiler free as possible, but I did want to share this. It was last night, where there's a creature leading me into a trap, and I get this feeling it's leading me into a trap. Okay,
I know what you're talking about.
And so I decide to go around, and I thought it was just going to be the one creature, and it turned out I made a successful perception roll, and I found like 10 creatures waiting in ambush for me. And then I was like, oh crap, I didn't even know what they were. I engaged them in combat, fought them. It was a slugfest, but I won. Something told me, I was like, there's this many creatures, and one of them was so huge. I feel like I missed content. I reloaded the save, decided to fall into the trap. Got a huge dialogue that was awesome, by the way, and also allowed me to pit potentially two parties again. This game often allows you to talk to one party who gives you a quest, and then you talk to the person that they want you to do something with, and you can decide to switch sides. Like, you can be like,
turn them on each
like,
other.
this person's offering me this. What are you going to offer me? Right. And then your party member's like, what the hell are you doing? We came here to do this. And you're like, calm your balls. All right.
Balls. Sure. Okay. Balls. Yeah.
Calm your Balzac. We're still figuring things out. I want to hear both sides. But the fact that your party member's anxious, but then you can tell him that you're weighing both sides rather than doing the thing, but that party member's like, I want you to do option 1. Why are you flirting with option 2? So now it's like, if I go with option 2, my party member is going to be mad at me. What does that mean for the story? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, I actually feel like I'm making a decision that's impacting people's lives, because I got to draw them through the whole story, and I haven't resolved it yet. But I missed a whole swath of content just because I went in there and murder hoboed the whole thing.
That's interesting, because I did also murder hobo the whole thing. I followed the creature. I saw the trap. I went, I am not falling into a trap, especially because I was warned about this particular situation potentially.
Oh, you knew? I didn't know.
And I was told, I was told by somebody, you will not have a chance to think, you need to act quickly. And while I didn't believe that person necessarily, I was like, well, I'm not going to walk into a trap. Got into a fight, and it was a tough as hell fight too. It was rough.
I think we're talking about the same thing for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a bard? Are you a bard right now?
I'm a bard. Yeah.
Yeah. So it also feels bad when you don't use your bard tools and talk. That's why I'm like, I try to set off all the traps and all the conversations, because I got a boss to kill himself with a persuasion roll. Awesome. I use his own logic. I use his own logic against him.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I use his own logic against him to be like, well, what about you? If you've got to do something to solve problems in the world, aren't you a part of the problem? And he's like, yeah, you're right. Kills him, like he dies. Didn't have to fight him. Huge health pool, looks scary as shit. I got all the XP for 1 or 2 good persuasion rolls. Being a bard is awesome.
Yeah, Bard is. I saw. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Taliesin and Evatel's account, but they're really into Baldur's Gate 3 right now, and they tweeted out just imagine not playing Bard, and honestly, I can't. What like absolutely the best class to play in this game. You don't need to take Asterion anywhere for one. Because you can fulfill all the roguish duties just fine.
Yeah.
And you get magic. You're persuasive as hell. It is the best way to play the game. Absolutely.
Did I tell you guys I nashed a boss to death? Here's how I did it. So I'm playing a warlock. Yeah. So I nashed him. Here's what I did. I walked into this room. And I won't say what the whole thing, it's probably not a spoiler, but anyway, I killed a guy who was double the hit points of everyone else in the room and had special abilities, and I did it by casting sleep. It was wild. It was wild that it worked at all because I thought his AC was.
It's not a spoiler for us. You're the one that's the farthest behind, so you can just tell us.
Yeah, I can just tell you guys. Yeah,
I've completely cleared Act 1.
But he's the big red hobgoblin guy, and he had extra powers and he had extra stuff, and so I was worried about this fight because there are also like 12 goblins in there, and some have arrows and they're dipping their arrows in fire. And
busy room.
Yeah, very very busy room. I'm not really having trouble with the goblins. They're all kind of not easy to dispatch, but you can get them in a couple of hits. And I'm trying to be tactical and all this. But this main dude, the hobgoblin guy, is a real dick, and he is, hurting me real good. Everybody, and being real pesky. And I'm losing a lot of rolls on certain kinds of abilities on him, and I'm just kind of frustrated with him, almost to the point where I'm like, I may just scum save before this and then just figure out a tactical way to take this guy out. Maybe go on the rafters and shoot down some of those big coal, burning coal filled like chandelier like things or whatever, and try to crush him, or it's getting all creative. But finally I'm like, you know what I haven't tried yet, and it was Asterion actually, because he has it built into his kit. I haven't tried sleep, so let's cast sleep just for fun. And I cast sleep on him. It works barely, if I remember right. And he slumps down and falls literally off the thing down into the abyss, which means I can't loot him. But all it took was a freaking sleep hit, and he was gone. That was it. Done.
That's amazing.
Wait, you casted sleep on him, and he fell.
And he fell into the pit and died. And then I only had to clear up the goblins, and it was a piece of cake after that. I never got whatever he was carrying, which bummed me out. I kept trying to find ways.
There's a spider pit. Wasn't the spider pit?
No, spider pit's behind him, so it's back. When he goes up to like a. When you first talk to him, he's by the spider pit, and then when you're done, he wanders up top and then is up there just yelling idioms or whatever.
My conversation never went that far. He was always by the spider pit.
Oh wow, weird. That's weird.
So he was behind. There are some chasms in that place for sure. So he was. So you slept him, and
totally didn't mean to. Didn't mean to. He fell into the pit and died. I could never get down to the pit. I tried.
Yeah, for those who haven't listened to There'll Be Dungeon, this is a classic Nash moment from the
Scott
campaign.
Move. Scott
worthy
loves
of
to kill
retelling.
people with
Yeah, I love.
Well, it was accidental, but like the way he cast it, because I can't remember the exact context, but they were being chased by some Guzzle Gang guards. I think through sort of an urbanish setting.
Yeah,
and he casted it such that the area of effect, because it has an area of effect,
it does.
Would have entered into a building that was just a house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, there's people that just live in there. And it says that you have to use the hit points on the lowest. I think in the D&D rules, you have to use them on the lowest target within the range, ascending.
Yeah.
I think.
That
so
sounds right to me.
I was like, well, there's some people in there, and I don't know. I was feeling particularly sadistic or creative, but I had one lean out their open window, fall, and break their neck
and die. Total innocent. That was early in the campaign too.
I don't know. I was probably. Yeah. I don't know. I have a twisted imagination. I sometimes forget because I have fun. I think a little bit with teasing you, Scott. When you cast your spells and they have unintended consequences, it's funny.
Yeah.
But I think maybe that was a little too hardcore. When I think about it, I'm just like, yeah, you cast sleep and accidentally killed a person. Like, that's
and didn't really. I don't think anything slept that was meant to sleep in that either. It was a real
No, 'cause
bummer.
I think the HP got used up before it got to the Guzzle Gang.
Yeah, I don't
I
remember
think
all
it
the
just killed the
details,
guy.
but
Yeah.
Audie Norman did draw a picture of it, so there's a picture that
Yeah,
which
it
I
was
will-
a
I
moment.
will go
And so
grab.
this
But
reminded me
was
of
a
that.
classic Nash moment. Yeah.
Even though I'd meant to do it, it was this moment of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just nashed him. And plus, he was going to be a longer, harder fight, and not anymore. See you later, dude. You're down in the pit. Also, that spider thing, the spider cage behind it all, that all worked out for me so that I could talk to the spiders. I rolled on animal handling or whatever. I had a conversation with them, and I cannot tell you the details because I don't remember, but somehow we got to this point where they were like, yeah, we don't really want to eat you, but we want to eat some goblin meat tonight. Somehow. I don't know how it got there. So when that got done, I was in good graces with the spiders, and about 10 of them just went running past me and up through the thing and started killing goblins for me.
That's awesome.
And that was just talking to them, right? Like I didn't fight a single spider, that made me happy. But again, these are all examples of that thing, right? Where everything just, he just.
Check Discord if you want to share the picture with the VOD viewers.
Oh, is that in here? Hold on.
I got it for you.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Oh, yeah.
I saved a lot of fans.
There is another heavy, like, sometimes I usually am the first person that's just like, look, there's so many people in the world. Nothing's new. Everybody's done things before. Like, yeah, I don't know about this whole, like, people are pulling from our campaign. But not yesterday, but I recently interacted with an object in Baldur's Gate 3. And despite the fact that there is no reason you would do this, lick it was an option. And I was like, if that isn't a direct reference to Scott playing D&D, I don't know what is. Why on God's green earth would you allow lick it as an option?
What was
for
the
this
lick it
thing?
option?
It was it was right near the fight we were talking about, Bo. Just outside of that,
I might
there
not have
is-
seen that yet.
there is a carcass, and you can lick it for
Ugh.
no good reason.
I don't want to, but that's very Nash-like. That's a very
I
Nash-like
think
thing.
I think there's a There Will Be Dungeons listener on their writing team.
There is something, and I was like, immediately, like, there's been some pretty things, like the I've seen demons that turn oily. I've seen you've got the heart, which feels directly out of the campaign,
Mhm.
like situations with demons and
Will's
stuff
got
like
Will's
that.
got
I'm like-
one bad
I'm
eye or
like,
one red eye on Will. Have you guys noticed that? He's got like a normal eye and then a
Yeah.
red eye. It's
Yeah.
like, you guys, I think
I'm
something's up.
like, okay. But for whatever reason, the thing that finally got me on board with this train was when lick it was an option on something disgusting. And I was like, nope, they do. There's somebody who listened. So
I mean, there's a bunch of slaver dwarves too. I know Scott hasn't gotten that far, but there's a whole.
yeah.
Is there?
whole
Oh,
slaver
really?
dwarf arc.
Have
Yeah,
I
it's
not?
Still in Act 1.
Okay, it's still Act
You
1,
haven't
yeah.
gone down yet. I'm gonna tell
No,
you. You might think
your Deep Underdark thing you talked about last week. I haven't gotten that to there yet.
Yeah. Act 1. I saw this on I think a PC Gamer article. Each act is about the size of an individual game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're nowhere near done.
No,
all of it.
I'm sure
You
I'm
might
not.
even move on before you experience it all. And that's a perfectly valid way to play. Increases replayability. But there are slaver dwarves as well. There was something else that came up that reminded me of our campaign too. I just think probably someone was listening. Is like, those are great ideas, but they're remixed in such a way that it doesn't feel lifted. But like if someone said, yeah, that
Did the devil lady, Shad, what's her name?
Karlak?
Karlak. Jeez, why do I want to call her
Yeah.
Shadrach? Did she wreck town when you met her after your little
Yeah.
fight there? Okay, that wasn't
Yeah.
just
oh
me.
yeah, she went nuts for a while. Yeah, she got mad. She's like, I'm so hot.
Yeah, she was all pissed. She was
Oh,
wrecking everything.
I bet I know what one of the references are.
Mm.
You know what powers the lights in Act 2?
Yes, that's what it was.
The lights. Oh, you guys are talking about
you-
stuff I haven't seen.
Act 2 stuff.
Yeah.
That was another. I was like, they're
You
like,
remember-
yeah,
Now,
it can be
we can
this
tell
or it
Scott
could.
I'll tell no context. We'll just say what the creature type is, okay?
That's fine.
But
There is a plot element involving pixies or ground up pixies.
Really?
yes, yeah, ground pixies.
Scott, look
yeah.
at Scott. He's like, hold on now.
Hold on. This is all a little too. I understand maybe one or two things, and you're like, boy, that's a coincidence. I'm starting to get conspiratorial.
No,
about
someone
this.
is because I'm pretty confident in my invention of pixie blush being, It's like magical cocaine where you take pixies
And
desiccate
grind them
and
up.
dry them and grind them into powder and huff it.
Yeah.
That's pixie blush. And I don't think that's almost a little too adult, probably for WotC or even TSR to put in their books, but not too adult for Larian. And I'm pretty sure there's a There Will Be Dungeons listener.
Can one of them just?
Stuff.
I just need to know. I don't even care that they did. I think I'd be
I
honored.
mean, I'm happy. Call me
Right.
up when you're done with Divinity Original Sin 3. Let's make the Beyond the Dead Fingers, or Heroes of the Wastes, or whatever, or
Right.
There Will Be Dungeons, whatever you want to call it. Like, let's go. Let's make Desert RPG.
But even if they don't, even if all they do is acknowledge that they got a bunch of this stuff from there,
yeah,
that
I'd
would
like
be
to know.
great.
If you're listening right now, if you listen to TWD, you probably check out Core, especially because your game just came out. Like, just I don't know, just send me like a dick pic of Asterian's penis or something. That'll be the secret code. Wait, don't send me dick pics.
You don't have to admit to anything. Just send a picture of Asterian's penis and we'll know what it means.
Yeah. By the way, the funny story on that, I was playing on my Steam Deck one night and I was in bed with it and Kim was there. She goes, "You still loving that?" I said, "Oh yeah, it's really good." And I go, "Oh, you haven't seen this, have you?" And she goes, "What?" And I go, "See these people?" She goes, "Yeah." And I turned around and I went in there and fiddled around. She couldn't tell what I was doing. I took everybody's clothes off and then I turned it back around to her and said, and we were all in camp. "Look at this." She goes, "Those people are all naked." I was like, "Yeah, they are. They're naked." And she's like, "Well, all right, that's a video game then." And that was the last of that conversation we had. But
you can make a nudist call with this.
See, my wife came in and specifically requested it. She heard me talk about it on, I think it was first talking to Kyle and Garrett on their show. And that was like, I had played literally only enough to see Stanley's penis in character creation. And so that's what I talked about on the show because that was all I had done.
Yeah.
She heard me say that. And so that night when I loaded up the game, she came walking in and she goes, "I want to see Stanley's penis." I was like, okay. So I'm like, I think I can make that happen. I'm like taking off armor and he's down to his little undies. And I was like, wait a minute, why'd I have to pick a penis type if all you see is undies? And then I saw, oh no, there's undies equipped. Okay, drag them off. And she goes, huh. And then just walked away. And that was it. It was just like, I need to know.
Yeah.
All right, I've seen it.
I'm moving on with my life. Exactly. That was a little bit like what it was like with Kim. I also think their patch notes have been amazing. They did a second hotfix. Their hotfix number 2 that came out literally said, where is it here? If I can find it, let's see. Here it is. Second hotfix, Larian Studios' tongue-in-cheek humor was more substantial and improvements to the game. Blah, 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 blah. It says right off the bat, we are all relieved that penises C and D no longer clip through some Gith Yankee clothing. So if you made a Gith Yankee dude and you used penis C or D in the options, you're just hanging around and like talking and your wiener's out the whole time.
That's awesome.
That's just great.
Have you seen what happens when you kiss normal heighted dudes as a halfling?
No.
Or gnome? You just walk up to the chest and kiss the breast because they don't. The NPC doesn't lean down, so the woman's like, and then the little halfling's like, kisses her breasts.
This game,
Need to
dude.
fix that. That's a little weird.
It's so funny. You know what else is weird about this game is that it went for so long in early access, and I didn't hear any of this kind of talk around it. I heard it was, I heard people were excited. It's going to be good. Can't wait for it to be done. All that, but and it sold a ton during early access. I just feel like I didn't hear any of this discussion. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the three of us aren't.
I think a lot of people just did what I knew. I was excited for this game. I knew I wanted to play it, and as a result, I didn't do early access.
Yeah,
like I knew, and I think a lot of people probably like jumped in, like by all accounts, because Bo played it, and you can probably speak to this. Like by all accounts, the very early access was very early access. Like it was not finished, it was not complete, and like
I played
whole
2 hours.
Yeah,
like, I played a whole 2 hours, John. I said like I did most of that prologue when the Mind Flayer Nautiloid, and I was like, oh, I know I'm really gonna want to play this. I'm gonna have the discipline to hold off to launch.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did that.
Yeah, I don't need to play it. Like I think we talked about Tally earlier, but she's a community member, and she dropped into my chat a couple of times, just saying like I've played it Act 1 so many times.
Oh yeah, she
You
was
know,
always.
and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't want to get burnt out. I think there's enough content in this game that you like would not be burnt out on launch. But like, there's a lot of games where if you play in early access, you get burnt out by the time it comes out. Valheim was a little bit like that.
Yeah, I think Overwatch was that way for us. Overwatch 1, we played so much of that beta that when it finally hit, we were just like, ugh, I don't want to chase that demon.
So I didn't want that to be my destiny with BJ3, and I'm happy because it's been so exciting playing it. In the community,
it's real good. Is you guys have either of you have anything else you want to say about it before we move on?
Are you going to hit the stats up a little bit? And stuff like that, because I think I'm good. I've got tons more to say, but we do have to move on with our lives at some point.
I mean, there's some interesting stuff. For example, like you said, stats. Larian released a bunch of infographics, and they're interesting. I'm going to pull them up now so we can see some of this. So, for example, 368 players have finished the game in its opening weekend. That's a small
at the time
number.
that this was. Oh well, no. I guess if it was opening weekend, that's universal.
Yeah, it's universal. So that's not a lot of people, and that sounds like a bunch of hardcore freaks that are just
I feel bad for those people because they missed 90% of the game. If that's
a speedrunner, dude beat the game in 10 minutes. He's also we'll talk about more about what he's doing next, but it's the same guy. But he beat the game in 10 minutes. I haven't looked at the speed run. I will after my first playthrough because I kind of want to see what the frick he did. Obviously,
I have a rough idea of how it would be done. Like I've played enough of the story to know the principle of it, but like how it was specifically managed, I would have to go.
You would just have to make a deal with the devil, right? I don't know. I haven't watched it. I don't want to be spoiled, but we've all met Raphael in Act 1.
Yeah,
right?
he's Oh, another.
So
sorry,
I don't
tick that
know
one
if
off too.
My assumption is just like, yes, please change. Please, I'll sell my soul to have this problem solved, and then it's solved.
He takes a lot longer to get to than 10 minutes, though. That guy. So I don't know.
Well, my understanding, and this will be as spoiler free as I can make it, is that in order to do this 10-minute run, you have to play as Gale.
Oh, well, then I'll never do it.
Oh, weird.
Just kidding. So he probably has he's probably got some weird, I don't know, one of his abilities.
Well, you know about his.
If you know, you probably can guess, and if you don't know, you'll find it.
You know why you're feeding him magic items, right?
Yeah.
Scott?
Yeah.
Right. He's a nuclear bomb. He'll blow up the entire planet.
So is that?
So I'm not quite sure how you get to end credits with that.
They just blow up and they roll.
Blow up the planet. Credits roll.
No, that can't be. That's got to be a game over screen. I'm pretty sure I've seen a game over screen with that.
I've seen a game over screen. Yes, I think we got a game over the same way because Bo tweeted ominously, "Don't tell a god to go f themselves."
That's a different one.
I did that.
I mean, can I say? I want to say it. Guys, skip ahead like 10 seconds. I'm going to say it. I think Scott will be okay with this spoiler.
That's fine.
And you had the same thing, but blank. Lich Queen God Ascendant, not necessarily God, wished me out of existence.
Yeah, I got wished out of existence too.
I said, can't you solve your own problems? You're a god. And she said, I said, fight your own. I fight your own battles. She's like, you dare speak this way to me? I wish you cease to exist. And your entire party dies. Game over.
Wow.
Yep, I had it happen to me too.
And it's like you were like, "Oh, that's cheap." I'm like, "No, wish is a spell in D&D."
We have that ability, yeah. It's a thing.
And that seemed perfectly valid to me. I was like, "Okay, I need to eat some humble pie here."
Who did that in our? Who famous was that? Christine? Or,
I did.
John did.
Twice,
I used wish a couple times. Once in a way, I don't like to think about. But.
Yeah, but one time it was heroically awesome. I can't remember what happened though. What happened?
Yeah, it was so awesome.
Didn't you wish a whole ship away or something happened like that? Or something happened where
Squirts wished a divine intervention.
No, that was Kristen's.
That's Kristen.
Divine intervention. That wasn't a wish.
I was thinking,
but, and that wasn't. She wished a whole ship or something away that got you out of trouble. But your wild magic sparked a moon to appear.
Yeah.
With giant mechas fighting you guys. That was a real weird one.
That was a super weird turn of events.
But
which this game feels capable of doing,
you
which
had
is
a
what
tactical wish.
Yeah.
Wish can be used tactically in combat, which you used in the final fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To good effect.
Right.
But I don't know the one you regret. What's the one you regret?
Yeah, what do you regret? What
that
happened?
where I was creating infinite clones of myself. I thought we would just do a quick in my head the request was a quick are you gonna let me do this and let's just call it quick because it'll do
I got a little.
it'll
lost in
do
the
what
sauce
it
on that
needs
one.
to do, and then it turned into it just felt like I was taking over the show too much, which I'm always uncomfortable when
it wasn't
happens,
you.
so.
I got lost in the sauce because wishes. I think there's even something I missed, but if as a DM, it's my responsibility to find the unintended consequences of a wish spell and slap you in the face with it, if at all possible. Like, and if you successfully advocate an appropriate wish spell, then I'm beat. But if there's like, if you're like, I want this magic item, you can potentially be teleported to the magic item, and let's say Lucifer has it. Well, now you're in hell. You're like, you got the item, but welcome to hell. I hope you enjoy your wish.
Yeah.
So
your
like
weekend.
Wish is supposed to be like you're accepting some really savage consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we got wished out of existence in the game, and it was. I felt it felt terrible, but awesome at the same time. I don't know. I was stoked about it.
Another fun little note here in some of these infographics. 93% of players rolled a custom character versus going with origin characters. Let's see. A player spent a combined 88 years in character creation. I feel like John's responsible for maybe 8 to 9 of those 88 years.
I feel like I was really good in this game compared to how I normally am because I came in with an idea of what I wanted to play, and I know who Stanley is. I know what he looks like, and I know enough about D&D to make a character quickly. But I did make 3 or 4 different characters.
Yeah. I made 8 or 9. I think I win.
I think I got there eventually. But for me, I think I did an impressively restrained job in this game, but I think I still contributed to it.
So what's wild is the origin character selection. I'm on the far end of this. Number 1 is Gale with 27,000 people plus doing that. Then Karlak, then Asterion, and those two are almost tied. Shadowheart after that, Will, which is what I did, second to last, and Lizelle is final, last, done, out of there. Nobody played her.
That makes sense.
It's because she's a fighter.
It's because you want to have a relationship with her.
Yeah, and it's not. Well, I think it's because she's kind of a boring. She's a little boring.
The fighters are not the sexiest.
You say that now, but you will regret your words and deeds.
Well, maybe
class
her and
choices. Look at the class choices.
Her and Gale can chill in the camp together. Let's see. Gale was also the 7th cause of death for players. But you only have yourselves to blame, it says. Let's see.
Everyone getting used to friendly fire with fireballs.
Paladin is
look at that. Most people do what you do, Scott. And they, on their first episode, kill their own party members.
That's right. Yeah, why not? Dude, his Thunder Wave, is it Thunder Wave?
Yeah.
Useful as hell. My gosh. That was great. I didn't have to worry about it as much.
It showed you the consequences in front of you. You didn't have to think about it.
Yeah. Paladin.
Paladin being first.
Go ahead. Sorry, Bob. What were you saying?
Oh, sorry. I'm surprised at Paladin being first.
Oh, yeah. Paladin's first surprised me as well. Sorcerer second, Warlock third. You guys with your let's see, where is your Bard? Oh, 5th. Yeah, there it is. And that's
you're a Warlock though in 3rd, so you're the more populous. But still, we're all played popular characters. As expected, Cleric was the least.
I was shocked by that. I thought people liked
clerics. I think are really good.
I agree.
They are in 5th edition. They are in this game. Like, I didn't want Shadowheart on my team, but when I had to bring her, I was like, oh, she's
like, welcome to a fantasy game.
Useful.
Do you want to play as a fighter or a magic wielder or the Pope? Like, no one wants to be the Pope. Come on now.
The poor Gith Yankees, very last on race choice. Man, nobody wanted to be Lizard Lady. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, and halflings, which I'm surprised more people wanted to be gnomes than halflings.
Yeah.
Because halflings are cool, like Bilbo Baggins.
I didn't watch it, but I got a YouTube video recommended to me that the title of it is just 4 halfling barbarians, and it's just a picture from the game, and it's just they're all wearing just underwear with big axes, and they're halflings, and clearly someone is just doing a playthrough either with their friends or by themselves, as just 4 barbarian halflings just jumping and stomping their way through the game. I think that's amazing.
Well, these stats are up there on their Twitter page or whatever the hell that site's called these days, and a million other places. So you guys should go check it all out. The big number though is players have played for at least 10 million hours when this was published. It's now more than that, but is that 10 billion or million? No, that's million. 1,225 years of time when this was published.
And that was like after the weekend. That was like on a Monday.
Yeah.
It's now one of the most played games on Steam of all time. Most concurrents. I think it's like
I think it is number.
It's like 3rd or 4th place. Like
Yeah.
it's only the Valve games it hasn't beaten, and PUBG.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It's
Freaking PUBG just hanging on up there. I mean, not player
not
now.
hanging
but
on. That thing was probably the fattiest fad in all of gaming. Honestly, right when it came out, like
Yeah, no, it started a whole genre, but and obviously today it pales. But during that time, that was crazy stuff. Well, there you have it. The only other thing we would say is this is a bit of an important note, I suppose. PC Gamer gave the game a 97. They have not given a score that good in 16 years. The previous winner of that level of 97 was Crysis 16 years ago. Whew. Crysis. Weren't we just talking about Crysis a couple of weeks ago? How cool we thought
Yeah,
Crysis
I
was?
played it in
Bo
VR.
loves Crysis.
Yeah, Crysis
I
is
played
cool.
VR, and yes, I love that game. Like there's something magical about that one in particular. I think, funny enough, it's the open sandbox of that game versus anything that came after it. Like just
Yeah.
here's jungle. There's no map markers. Figure it out.
So,
I think
it was
there's
a
some kind of
great
magical
game.
about the way that presented.
I
was
like that game
presented.
a lot. All right. Well, we will now move on to a couple of other games. Not much, but a little bit. I played the best chore core. Wait, do I have a thing for that?
Work harder!
A chore core game, which I know I get a lot of these, but the perfect second screen one. Of all the chore core games I've played, this is the most second screen friendly chore core game I've played in a long time. I had to watch a movie for a whole other thing. And I knew the movie really well, so I knew I could probably have this going while I watched it. And it's called, so I'll just tell you, it's
So
Ship.
when people listen to Film Sack next week,
It's not that show.
and they're like, I get the impression that Scott didn't really pay attention to this movie. This is the game that they should blame
No,
for it.
I should make it clear that is not a the one.
Okay.
But I could have there too because I actually kind of know that movie as well. But anyway, it's Ship Graveyard Simulator 2. This is a sequel to 1, obviously. And I don't know why I had to tell you that. I think you probably all could have
Put
sussed
it on
that
the
out.
back of the box, man.
But it is exactly what you think it is. You commission a big giant derelict ship that's no longer being used out in the ocean. This isn't a spaceship thing. And they park it out in this big hunk of land that you work on, and you go out there and you tear these things apart with hammers and different tools, blow torches, what else? Freaking saw, like hand saws and all this kind of thing. And you're trying to salvage as much of the steel and metal and plastic and stuff that got left in there as you can. And you have contracts, and you do those contracts, and you get big money for that. And then when you're done with that, you go upgrade your equipment. It's what you think it is when it comes to one of these first-person chore core games. It does have this interesting mini game that when you're out there working on the ship, you're constantly throwing the stuff that you salvage into a truck that's yours. And when you're done, you take that truck to the recycling area, and then there's a recycling mini game where plastic goes in the blue tubs, metal goes in the red tubs, and you don't do it manually. It's like a conveyor belt, and you have to like flip the belt to match the right tub. It's kind of a weird little side thing that I actually quite enjoy. But anyway, there's that. In fact, in the video here, you see where he throws stuff in the truck. You can be anywhere working on shit and throw a full box of stuff across the
That's
place.
amazing.
It's pretty great. And this is a point I want to make about chorecore that I love the most. The ones that are willing to accept where gamification is the most fun are the ones I like the most. What I mean by that is you could go crazy and really simulate this and say, well, you just pulled a 50-pound panel of metal off this thing. You better take you and 4 other huge guys and walk it over to a truck and take half the day doing that. Or you can just pick this shit up and toss it across the yard.
And throw it across the universe.
Yeah, and it's more gamey, but I like it. It for those out there who ended up getting Shipbreaker on my recommendation or otherwise, the outer space one, this is going to scratch that itch. It's a very similar itch of tear shit apart, have goals in doing so, but start with a big derelict ship and work your way till there's nothing left and you make a bunch of money on it, and then you go get another ship and do it again, and the ships get more complicated and you make more money and you get better tools and all this sort of stuff. That's the progression on it. The nice thing about this one, though, is there really is no story. So you don't have to focus on anything but just kind of mechanically getting the shit done. And I find this sort of stuff cathartic and chill. Which is partly why I like the whole genre in general. And I think this one is doing it right. The first game was got a little heat for trying to do too much or be too simmy. I think they learned their lessons here. This feels a lot tighter, a lot just more fun doing what you're doing. And boy, there's something about when you pound out a bunch of rivets at the top of a ship and then you have to knock one of them loose to actually get everything to break, and the whole ship level just collapses with you on it. And it won't hurt you. For whatever reason, you don't get hurt by this stuff, which is fine with me. I don't want to have to deal with it. But it's just really satisfying. A lot of physics going on. This is clearly made by people who didn't want to make something janky. It actually runs really well and plays really well. There's a day-night cycle. You have a flashlight if you need it. You don't have to go to bed. You can just stay out there and work all night until the sun comes up, whatever you want to do. Save anywhere kind of game. It's awesome. I love it. So highly recommend this one, even though I've only had, how long was that movie? 2.5 hours I had with it.
It's totally based on the movie.
Yeah, it kind of is, but it's great. It's really, really fun. Ship Graveyard 2, or Simulator 2, it just came out, I want to say yesterday? Or something like that. I got a code a little early, but I think it was yesterday. I also played the BroForce Forever update. If you've played BroForce from 2015, then you know what this game is. And is
that an update or is it a new title?
It's a update. So they basically, the story is, according to their post in their on Steam, they have like a whole developer post in there. They said they had gone from then till now, they had gone through a whole bunch of plans. One of them was to make a spin-off game that was more of a roguelike, and then they were going to do a full sequel, and then they were going to do all these things, and they all ended up just like not quite working. They were like, I don't like where this is headed, or this isn't any better than what we've already done, or whatever. So what they did is they took all of those ideas and all the work they had done, compiled it into a proper update, and put it into the game that you already own. Added a whole bunch of new campaign content, biomes. There's a whole like desert zone. John will love that.
Yay.
They added a bunch of new bros. So you got Braun Wick, I think, is John Wick. So they've updated that to be new stuff. Who's Xena Warrior Princess? I think it's Bronia Warrior Princess, something like that. So they've added a couple of girls. They got Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's called Brony or Brophy rather. Sorry.
Yeah.
So they just like updated it just because.
Yeah, they just did.
That's
and
awesome.
It's already an incredible game. One of my favorite indies games, maybe ever. It's still so much fun. And
they got Desperabro.
Yep, Desperabro. He's in there.
I'm looking at the update now. Bert Bromer
is Bert. I think it's supposed to be Bert. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name.
Bert Bromer.
Bert. Who's the actor? Bert.
I don't know.
He was the.
Look at that one reference.
Shit.
Brophy the Vampire Slayer.
I can't think of who Bert Bromer is, but anyway, it's stuff like that. I want to say there's 9 or something more of those. I didn't name them all. And they say on the thing, it says, what do we recommend? We recommend you just start a new campaign and play all the new shit as you go, and you're going to love it. And so it's really just like this really nice gift from them to people. And I think if you've never owned the game, it's absolutely worth picking up anyway. But I love BroForce, so I was very excited about this. And I don't know that I've even played a better Steam Deck game than this game. It's like built for that.
It's 2-player co-op, right? Or is it more than 2 players?
I think it's up to 4.
4. Yeah.
Man, there's so many. I know you're going to talk about this game. I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but there's so many multiplayer games. I wish we just had time to play.
We could play these. This would be a great one. We probably wouldn't have to commit too much
BroForce is
time
great, and so is the next game you're going to talk about. I didn't realize that must be new to that game,
brand new.
but it has co-op. I'm not going to steal your thunder, but
Yeah,
I
not even
was
just
like,
co-op.
man, I wanna-
You're gonna love what I say about this new thing because it's so good.
Love
Well, anyway,
I installed it. I might give it a whirl just for fun.
BroForce out there now, and already was awesome. Now it's even better. Highly recommend it. Okay, this is here's the craziest thing. I want to find the right. I don't have a good video for this. It's too new. Oh no, here's remastered. Here we go. So Quake II Remastered came out on Game Pass, and also you can buy it. Game Pass. It was a surprise on Game Pass. I didn't know it was coming there. But basically, the same guys that made the Quake 1 remaster did this, and it is awesome. This is one of the best remasters of the year, and not because of fidelity. There are ray tracing and long shadows and all this cool stuff the game didn't do in the beginning. That's definitely there, so you're getting a lot of technical improvements. But what they really did was made this feel like a proper shooter in today's time. It just feels so tight and good. And I loved Quake 2 back in the day. You could argue Quake 2's campaign is the best Quake campaign. The multiplayer is great, but it's not, I don't know. Quake 3 probably still better multiplayer. I don't know. But 2 just has a special slot in my heart. But they also made other games, right? There was a bunch of expansions to the original game. And there was an N64 game. I forgot the full title of this. I had it in front of me and I lost it.
I think it's Quake 2 64.
Is that all it is?
That's what I saw in the trailer when I watched it earlier.
That might be. That is an unsung, unappreciated, everyone forgot about how great it was game that is not even the same game. It's a whole other Quake game that's in a similar engine, but they've remastered that and put that in here as well, and that is really fun. And as you mentioned, they added co-op. They put a ton of multiplayer back into it. I played some multiplayer matches, got my ass handed to me, like I used to in those days as well. But this is a legit remake, and the reviews seem to reflect it as well. Since it's on Game Pass, kind of a no-brainer. Had a blast playing through the first, 6 levels of Quake 2, and love it, love it, love it, love it. Can't say enough about it. Just it's both a throwback and a. You know how everybody's trying to make one of these now? Everyone's trying to make like a new take on the 90s shooters. Yeah.
You don't like that name. But
yeah, I don't either. But
this is the quintessential boomer shooter right here. I think.
For sure. And it's just really excellent. I hope this puts a fire under Epic to do something similar with like Unreal or Unreal Tournament. I think these games deserve to be played by new people on new systems and computers, and this is just really beautifully done. I mean, when you play it, you're not going to go, whoa, this is the next generation of, it's not that. It's just a loving recreation of what was already great and all the right improvements. So I'm very, very, very happy with it. That's Quake 2, currently on Game Pass and everywhere else you can get it. Okay. That's it for me.
Yeah, they've replaced like the Quake 2. I'm on the Steam page just to confirm for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they've replaced Quake 2 on there. Like you buy Quake 2, you get the remaster.
Yeah, they just give it to you. And that's the other thing is you don't have to pay for it again. You own it already if you do that. If you're buying it on console or something else, you'll pay for it, but it's not a lot of money. And the Game Pass version is just awesome. I played it on PC and the console just to kind of see.
A lot of reviews right now, because it's of the moment, are throwing shade at Rockstar. This is our remaster.
Oh yeah, people are mad because of that Red Dead remake or Red Dead re-release. Yeah. I don't blame them for being bummed about that. I kind of tempted to play the PS5, PS4 version because it's 64K, 60 frames per second, 4K, and it might I don't know. I'm kind of curious, but I don't know if I'm gonna mess with it. But Quake 2 never looked so good, man. Widescreen, fast as hell. Just a beautiful shooter. Love it. It's the first game I ever had a Voodoo for. I bought a Voodoo card for this game.
Yeah, Voodoo cards.
Yep. I remember it blowing my mind. I was like, this is what video games can look like on PCs. I am spending $200 on a Voodoo card when I don't have the money. And I did it, and this is what I played for days and days and days and days. And also, the capture the flag mode in this was always good, but I forgot just how good. It's sublime. It's the ultimate capture the flag mode in shooters, as far as I'm concerned, and is worth it on that alone. So anyway, go check it out. I don't know if it's moddable. I don't know if people are going to have any fun that way. Haven't looked into it, but it would be really cool if people could make their own maps, and that part of that era is so much
it's moddable.
fun.
Yeah, it's from the WAD era.
Yeah, I would assume so.
My instinct says probably.
Yeah, and I would think they'd want that, but anyway. This might be my favorite thing that Bethesda /id/ I guess Microsoft now has done, are these amazing remasters. This one's really good. All right, John, let's get a frog wrestling update, shall we?
Yeah, let's talk a little of this. Frog
Dun, dun, dun,
wrestling.
dun. Look at that thing.
Oh my gosh, I gotta first start out with a big shout out to Taz,
Yep.
who has done the logo work for Frog Wrestling, who sent me as a birthday present this fine Frog Wrestling Championship belt. It's really hard to show on here.
It's so cool. Gosh dang
it's awesome. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. He sent me this for my birthday.
Have you tried wearing it?
Reflection of yourselves.
Have you tried?
It has little other things on it.
Yeah, what are those little side
so
panels?
It's got little. See if we can get them here.
Oh, I see. This is the frog hand. There's the little logo.
Yeah.
Have you tried to wear it?
Yeah, it fits.
Okay.
I can wear it.
Awesome.
It's super cool. I love it. So I just got to give another shout out to Taz, who was in the chat. Happy birthday was what he's saying. But I mean, thanks to you.
Yeah.
So they can't hear.
I just got born. That's not impressive. This is impressive.
How cool is that? Is that the coolest thing you could ever ask for your birthday?
This is so freaking cool.
Yeah, that's badass.
I wish I had filmed my reaction to getting it, but you get a package and it's from a listener and you're like, okay, that's cool. In a million years, I never would have expected this. And I was just like, I freaked out. Like, it was amazing.
I wish we had some good, theme music for Frog Wrestling. This is the perfect time to have it today, and I don't have anything good. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Sorry about that.
So I got this. I got to figure out how I'm going to display it and show it, but this is very, very, very cool. So a huge shout out to Taz for this. This is just awesome. But yeah, I'm not gonna necessarily talk too much about this week because it's Frog Wrestling. I talk about it every week, but continuing down that road, giving the new wrestlers, because we've introduced a lot of new people over the past couple weeks, a chance to shine and a chance to have matches. And so we were trying to focus more on the newer wrestlers this week, although we did give Bo a title match against Kyle for the Dragon Beef Championship. Yep, big DM fight. And unfortunately, Bo just did not quite get it done. It was a hell of a fight, but he did not win.
Kyle's OP. I didn't want to go against him.
Kyle's very strong. Like, it's going to be hard for Kyle to be beat. Everybody does want to talk about the Mod Syndicate fight. We did have Core versus new Core. Bo is not a part of Core.
Not part of Core in this world.
But we did have a Core versus Mod Syndicate fight, which right now Mod Syndicate is Ben, Tom Merritt, and Tanner Goodman. And it's the first time I've ever had to call a match. They would not go for a victory. They just wanted to beat up Scott. Scott was the last one left, and they were just beating him up so badly that we had to call the match. We had to call it early. And
safety first, John. Safety first.
Yeah, they all they had to do was put him through a table. Scott wasn't moving anymore.
Yeah,
and they just kept hitting him with chairs and throwing him around and doing big moves to him. And we had to call the match. And I don't know if Scott's going to be in any condition to wrestle anytime soon after a beating like that.
Damn. So. All right. How are my shorts though? Holding up? They're my shorts
still in control. There are people like you have been the most hated bad guy in the company for a long time, but you got beat up so bad you actually garnered a little sympathy this week, Scott. People actually feeling a little bad for you.
Yeah, we're swinging some PR the other direction. I like it.
Yep, and things might be turning around for you.
Wow.
You might be a good guy in the making. Time for a comeback.
Nice.
Oh, yep. There's the taint no thing.
Yep.
On Kyle.
Yep.
Well, at least Kyle smelt my taint. I mean,
if you go back just a little bit, you should really try to find the lake run. We should really show people the lake run. Poor Kyle, victim of the lake run.
Is it right before the taint deal?
It shouldn't be too far before it, but
let's see. Okay, this is where he gets up. Nope, that's just a pin.
I think he did the lake run a little bit before the taint no thing, so it would have been earlier in the match.
Let's see.
But
Kyle's rocking.
I think my favorite detail about Bo, this was a real nobody has commented on it, but it's a subtle detail. So the idea is that he keeps the hand that he does the taint wipe with bandaged to absorb smells and flavor and whatnot. But my favorite detail is I have intentionally miscolored. Like there's a stain that I have stuck on it, a semi-transparent like brown stain on the gloves right around that spot.
Perfect.
And it doesn't stand out. You have to really look for it, but it's there, and I'm so happy it's there.
That's great. If you just had a towel when he came in around his neck that had like blue fuzz on it or something, that would be the ultimate. It's a reference not everyone will get. All right. I can't find the lake run for some reason. I keep going back. And there it is. I think I found it. Okay. So this is where watch you guys. Wham, wham. And then.
That's the lake run. Great.
Oh, that's
he
good.
slaps his butt. He turns it and he just grinds his butt up in Kyle's face. That's the lake run.
Oh, that's so good. So good. All right. Frog Wrestling continues to be awesome. Check it out on Wednesdays and also Craftless Rogue on YouTube and on Twitch. Bo, you played Warcraft Rumble.
I did. I am part of the Commonwealth where mobile games get beta tested before the Americans get to play.
Mm-hmm.
Before we downvote everything, we send it to the polite Canadians.
Yeah, that's right.
It's funny to play Warcraft Rumble during a time where Overwatch 2 is getting downvoted because, it's for people don't really, a lot of people are very vocal about their disdain for the mobile offerings of Blizzard. And, it's one of the video games of all time.
Yeah, nailed it, man.
Wow. Okay, but I mean, is it just?
It's cool. Like it's cool in that it's a Blizzard quality mobile game. The minis look neat.
Is it Clash Royale for Blizzard though? I mean, is that
so? My issue is I never played any of those games, so I have nothing to compare it to. Unfortunately, okay. I'm not a professional mobile. Sorry, guys. Like my opinion here is not going to be super informative. But it's like basically you have 2 lanes. You pick a unit of random units, and then you send them down the lane. Is that Clash of Clans?
Kinda, yeah. And then there's cooldowns on those units, and then when they come up again,
you got to get gold. You send kobolds to mine gold. There's melee, ranged, and flying, and there's a rock paper scissors to what counters what.
Right. That sounds like it so far.
I'm sure it's probably some, Blizzard's take on a genre. I mean, people said that positively about Overwatch on release, that, it's Team Fortress 2, but Blizzard style. Like, actually, it's pretty cool. But I think what I'm not enjoying about the game is when you play a match, even against AI, there's a timer. You got to beat the guys before the timer runs out. I'm like, who cares if it takes me 20 minutes to beat the boss? I'm like, oh, they don't want me to win because they give up less free space points.
Now that you say that, I don't think Clash Royale had a time limit. So
that's a time limit. I have 5 minutes to beat the boss, or else it's a draw. And I'm like, the AI isn't a player, so I lose. It's not a draw. I lose. I'm not getting stuff.
Yeah.
The AI, who gives a shit what the AI gets? It's just imaginary.
I don't love that. That doesn't sound fun.
So take the timer out first of all on your casual game. That sucks. And then the other thing that sucks is obviously it's got 100,000 menus and mobile bullshit. It's like, actually, if this game didn't have all that freemium mobile bullshit, if it was like, pay $5, play this sweet Warcraft strategy game, I would actually have a very easy time recommending it. It seems like it's pretty basic, but I can see where the strategy gets bigger. The maps get bigger. There's little toggles where you can change the lanes where things go. Has PvP, which actually I played one PvP match and it was actually kind of fun, and I won.
Nice.
Got to brag about winning, of course.
Sure.
And there's summoning stones. Like, there's mechanics. It's a Blizzard game. Like, it actually feels like, yeah, I want something fun and dinky on my phone. Like, this is, and I hate to call it dinky, but it's got a cartoony art style, and everything's not serious, even though it's Warcraft. That irony is part of the aesthetic. So it's but unfortunately, you have to level up things. Things take lots of time to level, and they offer you tons of ways to buy boosts and all that.
All the stuff.
So I would just say probably just avoid. You're not missing anything here. And honestly, like, I do kind of like it, but it's not like how I felt playing Snap or even Mighty Doom.
Yeah,
it's a pretty big lukewarm for me. But you guys are probably gonna install and try it. Maybe not, John.
I'll probably try it.
No, I won't try.
I'll try it and see what it's like, but I'm not probably gonna. The timer thing, really, you just really put me off it with that timer.
I feel like there's a world where I could really praise this game a lot, and it's one without all the, the manipulative slot machine.
Yeah,
mechanics.
It's like if Blizzard was still like Larian and had no corporate overlords, you could see them making something that was maybe a little less aggressive that way.
Because I do I dig it a little bit. Like, I don't mind a simple game on the phone while you're on the toilet or 30 minutes before bed or something, but I know I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to hit the ding desert, and they're going to be there saying, just one click, you can buy 50 gems.
Yep. And for those that heard us say Warcraft Rumble, we meant Warcraft Arclight Rumble.
No, they changed it. It's just
Is it just Warcraft Rumble now?
Yeah, Arclight's gone. That's too crazy. What are the mom and pops going to think? Do they know what an Arclight is? Come on now.
I guess
you know who they're marketing this to. They're not marketing to like nerds. They want suckers to play it, basically.
Yeah, and I guess why would you have Arclight there?
I actually kind of like Arclight Rumble. I actually like the name of it. It's like Warcraft Rumble now sounds like just Call of Duty shooting or something. Like, okay,
a little bit. I mean, the Warcraft name carries some chutzpah, I suppose, but
no, for sure. But I mean, Arclight Rumble also has the war as the tagline, like as the what is it? Initials. Acronym.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
war.
Yeah.
So now it's just war.
Oh,
but they had
I
war
didn't realize
before.
that was war before.
I'm like, it's like, I don't know. It was I don't know why you removed that. That seems silly to me.
Yeah. Well, there you go. A preview of what's to come in the hot new title.
It's fine,
Warcraft
but
Rumble.
I won't recommend it. But we'll still play it.
I didn't know they changed the name. Was this new with the latest beta or something that all happened?
I only found out about that like a week ago or something. There was rumors it was coming to beta because I think some people in Philippines were getting to play, and I was like, oh, let me check if it's Canada, and it was like, no, not Canada. But then yesterday someone's like, Warcraft Rumble is available on the store, and I checked and downloaded it, and gave it a whirl.
It's going to be one of these games that is excellent mechanics, great flow, great timing and balance, all the things Blizzard's known for, and then just covered in the shit we're worried about.
Yeah, and then you're going to hit a wall where your units aren't leveled up enough, and you need to level them up, so you either need to repeat the content 1,000 times over, or you're going to pay. It's basically what Mercenaries is in Hearthstone, and Mercenaries was fun until it turned into garbage.
Yeah,
and that's probably what's happening here, too.
Ding Desert. All right.
Feel bad, man. Probably a lot of people worked hard on it. It's a good-looking product.
Yeah,
but,
it looks like it's
nothing. No one's gonna sing praises for this product. I'm very sorry, people who worked on it.
Yeah.
Hope you find jobs at better places or on better projects within the same company.
Yeah. Maybe Microsoft will have better ideas. Maybe they won't. I don't know. That deal. You know what? That's next or no? Is it next week? Next week's the final contract signing. It's over after that. Microsoft owns them all. We'll see.
We're hitting the hump here. Or the line, the finish line?
This is it. Pretty quick here. I don't know what the EU solution was. I think splitting companies or something has to happen over there.
We're holding our breath. Is just how they're dealing with Activision.
Right.
If it's a direct Blizzard to Microsoft reporting structure, I'm gonna have some hope.
I am too. Yeah.
If they're just like Activision reports to Microsoft, then the same people who suck are still going to be meddling, and yeah,
It needs to signal the exit of Kotick and people like him. If it doesn't, then I'm not going to have a lot of hope about it.
And all the people who apparently, I don't know. I'm not gonna say bad things.
No, you're a good, nice guy
like
that never says bad things.
But just the weirdo executives that were part of like the White House during the search for WMDs in Iraq that work on there. Get those guys out too.
Oh yeah, those guys should leave. They don't need to be there.
Those freaking weirdos, go away.
It is weird. It's like, hey, you know what we need here at our video game company? We need some political / government people.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why? That's the wrong experience. Don't have them in there. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back from this break, Dear Martha. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's coming up. Some other quick stuff. We've got a voicemail today and some other fun things. So don't go too far, everybody. Go pee, go eat, do whatever you got to do. We'll be back shortly. We'll see you in a sec. There's that, and there's that. All right, we're back, everybody. Thank you for hanging in there for us. We're going to jump straight into a Dear Martha. Now, John, it says something about Baldur's Gate 3 reviews here. To explain how today's going to work. How do you want to do it?
Yeah, so we're going to do something a little different today. And probably not going to do it frequent because usually when we get to this part of the show, we're wrapping things up rapidly.
Yeah.
But when I was looking for Dear Martha reviews, I found a review that was a negative review for Baldur's Gate 3. And like a lot of people, when you really like a video game and you see someone going, nope, not recommended, you kind of roll your eyes and go, whatever. But I read the review and I actually thought it was a pretty decent point. I don't know if I would give the game an overall negative for this, but I think it's worth discussion. So I wanted to read the review in the style of Dear Martha and then just maybe have a chat with you guys about your thoughts on this.
All right.
Because I found it interesting.
All right, here we go.
My dearest Martha, game is great in general. But there's one thing that annoys me every time I face it, and it annoys me so much that I honestly can't play this game anymore. I'm talking about skill checks in cutscenes / dialogues. As it currently works, only the character who started a cutscene can do any skill checks in it. Imagine you are playing a strength-based character like a fighter or a barbarian. Naturally, you will want to have your character active most of the time. After all, it is you in the game. And say you face some kind of magical anomaly or whatever, and you need to roll an arcane skill to understand what it is. Well, you will most likely fail in your strength character, despite the fact that you have a wizard in your party literally standing beside you who knows a lot about arcane and proficient in arcane. Why wouldn't he chime in and roll for that arcane check and explain it to you? This is so immersion breaking and happens in almost every cutscene where there are any skill checks. I know I can load earlier save and start a cutscene with the character who have needed skill, but this leads to a vicious cycle of saving before every click and loading after every cutscene because I don't know what skills will be checked in a cutscene. Very annoying. Literally all other classic RPG games have a system where the character with the highest skill will do the roll check for that skill, or you can pick who will do the roll. After all, you are a party of adventurers who solve things together, not one character who started the cutscene and everybody else as a decoration behind. TLDR, locking skill checks to only active character is bad. Should check skills against the whole party. Yours in this life and the next. I'd rather.
Okay. I'm going to say it's not a game breaker the way this guy's finding it, but I agree. And I've done this save scum thing where I'm like, shit, he would have won that role because he's got all kinds of bonuses to Arcane or whatever, and I'll switch back to another character. I wish the game would let me, in the middle of all this, there's even a menu up to change to another character. But if you
can't break into the cutscene.
Yeah, you can't break into the conversation. They're just sort of out walking around. So it's positional or whatever. I guess there's reasons for it. But I agree with this guy.
I think this person is 100% correct. And I thought I'd bring it up. I'm curious to hear what Bo says, but I will say this. Part of the reason why I brought it up is this review has gotten a lot of dialogue going on underneath it of people saying that's not how D&D works. Sometimes you're not going to be perfect for every situation. You just have to take the role as it is. But in my eyes, not being able to confer with your party is actually not very D&D. If we are all playing There Will Be Dungeons and Bo presents us a magical problem that needs solving, the player who's going to be best suited for that is the one who steps up to do it. Likewise, if we get to a strength issue, we know to step back and let Kyle step forward and have Varel try and solve that problem. That's how D&D works. D&D does not work with, well, you're the one who looked at it, and even though you got a bunch of friends who could help you with it standing around, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So I actually agree with this guy too, and I think if there was a feature that I could request in the game, we've talked about this multiple weeks now. I've changed my answer. I actually think this guy's criticism is valid, but again, not to give the entire game a bad review.
Yeah.
But I think this is maybe my number one feature that I would want is some way to switch who is engaging with the thing so I can benefit from their skills and actually feel like an active party when and where applicable. And then number two is the spell prestidigitation.
Yeah, that one's always in that list.
Yeah.
So before you answer, Bo, funny thing about this game is my initial assumption was that it was going to do that for me through everything. So if I was going to be having to do a strength roll, even though I was presenting as this warlock, that it would account for a better strength from somebody else in my party, since it wasn't like overtly saying, who do you want to do this? I just thought it would do that. And when it didn't do that, and I realized that was the case, I kind of found that to be a real bummer for a bit. I got over it. And again, it's not a game breaker at all, but it would be nice. Bo, I'd love to hear your take. Is this just a DM thing and you were always just really nice to let Kyle do the strength rolls and stuff like that, or what?
Well, I don't think I ever. So this person's both right and wrong. I think they painted the situation a little bit with a broad brush, but it depends on the situation. If you're a party of people approaching somebody and your character best suited to do a persuasion check, obviously it makes sense to have that person chime in even without consulting the party to say like, yeah, but have you considered this? And okay, persuasion roll like that organically kind of happens at the table without having to do that. And I think that is an issue in the game, where if you initiate dialogue and you have the option to leave, you can always leave and pick you can see the roll and then leave, pick the person with the best rolls and come back. Little tedious, so understandably that'd be more streamlined to dynamically switch the party member in the dialogue. So I agree with the review. But there are also some awkward moments when you finish a combat and a cutscene starts and it picks whoever's nearest to some arbitrary point. So it isn't your main character, it's like Shadowheart, and then they get a roll, and there's no way you can leave. It's a red check, like in this goes Elysium. Sometimes it depends on the circumstance. Sometimes it's like, yeah, let's get my best guy on that. Particularly with like dialogue, anyone can speak up at any time. So I think dialogue choices, spellcasts like detect thoughts for someone else to come in, maybe makes sense to get party members in there. However, there are some roles that would, let's say you were in a conversation and the person wanted to hear from that one, and someone else is like, well, no, I got a story. He's like, no, I want to ask that person. Then that person has to make the skill check, right? So I can conceive of like both being true. There are circumstances where you're the one that's got to make the roll. Like in combat, if you get a spell cast on you, you can't pick your best saving throw in your party. It's whoever's the target's got to roll to save.
True, yeah.
I think for skill checks, the same logic at the table applies. It depends, as if somebody that you're interacting with might not have a problem if someone else speaks up. But Gith Yankee, for example, they don't want to hear shit from the other non-Gith Yankee. They're pretty racist, right? So they definitely respect the word of other Gith Yankee more. So Just because your best persuasion role might be another party member, you still might want to have Lizelle, for example, do that particular dialogue. In fact, there's even dialogue choices where you can step in and talk, or you can let the Githyanki deal with the other Githyanki. So it depends, but I think that's why I wouldn't say the game's terrible because of it. But I think I tend to agree with both of you. There's definitely pain points there where you're like, I just feel it's exaggerated. But as a bard, all I'm doing is deception, persuasion, uh, bard performance roles, and I'm usually always engaging as Baffo Salts. And there's been times when I accidentally Karlach's talking, and I'm like, no, get her out of here. She can't persuade.
Yeah.
Let me just get the persuade, please. And you can't leave. I would say I'd love to have something to swap in my face, call them my face in dialogue. I think long term, if they make it a definitive edition or something like that, I think that's something you should just write as feedback, and clearly he has, to get people to swap in. I think in social dialogue is when it comes up the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest one for me, and that's part of the reason why I almost feel trapped as a bard or a rogue or somebody that's going to be charismatic, because I like to explore the dialogue tree. I think the combat in the game's great, but I always feel a lot better about combats I talked my way out of or I clevered my way out of. And when I think about when I play this game again, not being a charismatic talker, I'm like, oh, but then I'm gonna have to remember to
You have to
switch to
fight.
that person every time I get to a dialogue, and then it's not my character
But-
doing it. What a pain in the butt that's gonna be. I'll just play a bard again. Like that's just where I kind of end up.
Remember, there's also a charm to playing a barbarian and failing all the roles and just playing that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
social
that's
cut.
true.
Like,
That's
you
true.
don't always want to switch because your belligerent barbarian is going to get the last word in and fail everything, and that's just your version of fun.
Right. Sometimes Varel is the one who's going to handle the situation, and it's going to go poorly because he sees the world through lizard eyes. But you got to let him do it.
Yeah.
You can't be like, no, Varel, you can't talk to.
There's this
person."
feeling though that, okay, I spent 2 hours in the custom character screen to make this dude or this lady, and now I'm in the middle of the game and I'm mostly having Asterion talk to everybody because he's the charmer. There is a feeling, it's weird. It's like, well, I'd rather be heading this up with this character I made, but instead I'm using the pre-built. And it's not a bad thing. It's just, it feels funny because it takes you out of the role play part, kind of, a little bit. Not really.
It's like if I wanted to be Asterion, I would have picked Asterion.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I think it's the dialogues that just autoplay and don't have do-overs. Because a lot of dialogues, you can just press the leave button. I've done it, and come back with the character you want.
That's true.
And that's okay.
That's true.
You can do that, but not. He's like, I think he's being a little bit of a Sith about it, like absolutist. Like all skill checks are terrible because they all apply this way. Like, no, like you can, if you can restart dialogues with different characters, and they'll even restart from the beginning, like you're having a fresh conversation with them. So that point is moot. And anything out in the world like strength checks, I've opened bank vaults with my strong persons, they failed, and then my weak 8 strength guy gets a lucky critical and then opens up the bank vault. Like, shit happens, but like different characters get to try. That's fine. They've done a great job on that.
Yeah.
It's just the auto, you have one shot only sort of scenarios. I think at the start they should pick. You should be able to pick. And it depends on the circumstance. I just don't think 100% of scenarios are like we pick the best person from the job, because if it's like time critical in some fashion and doesn't make sense, then I don't think it makes sense to 100% of the time.
Well, I had a dialogue that started because I was trying to get into position for a fight. I knew a fight was coming up. I was pretty sure there was no way I was going to get out of it. And I thought, all right, well, I had Will on my team. I wanted to get him elevated so that he'd be looking down, have that height advantage on his spells. I was like, good. So I hid everybody. I separated him from the party. I tried to sneak him over to a position, and he's the one who got caught and seen by the enemy. Well, he's the one who should be in that dialogue. Stanley shouldn't magically appear into that dialogue and be like, hi, I'm the talker. I'll be handling this situation going forward, even though you looked at my friend here. And I think that it smartly handled that well. In fact, it didn't put the rest of the party in combat. It only put Will in combat for that. So I really liked how it handled that particular scenario, even though it wasn't my quote unquote face doing it. But yeah, I think it could be better. I wish that the switch party members button didn't just switch out of the out of the dialogue and actually would let somebody else chime in.
I think there's a logistical reason for it, and it may still be a poor excuse, but I think this may be also a single player focused critique. Remembering that the game is a fully 4-player co-op game, and dialogue is a lot more chaotic. And not someone will start a dialogue that's super important and won't tell the three other players.
If not for practical reasons, maybe even for technical. Because I think there might be an element to how the game handles conversations with multiple party members and all of that it doesn't take that into account.
I'm playing with Crofton. I'm the bard. And there are performance checks, and I'm like, Crofton, let me do it. He's like, no, I'm the one talking, and he goes ahead and boneheadedly fails them anyway. It's like, it's this performance. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna be a chill bard and not make a big stink about every dialogue. But at first, I was like, you guys are like rolling performance, and I'm your bard. I can't even get real humans to do that. So I don't know that. I don't think this guy's played much D&D, or maybe my friends, need some work on their cooperative play, but. A
little of both, I think.
Yeah, I don't think this guy's as right as we think he is, but I think it's fair feedback.
I'll be a chill bard, and now I want to roleplay a chill bard because bards typically not very chill, but be like I don't know, be like a Tommy Chong bard.
Tommy Chong bard.
I don't know. It's just like whatever, man.
I love that. No.
It's just like real mellow about things, not the big glorious showboating bard, but just like, hey, it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
I'm thinking about re-rolling my class in that play group because clearly cooperation's just a struggle.
It's
so
not
I might
happening.
play
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of your playthrough with them. It gave me anxiety.
Yeah.
I had to leave the stream. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Well, you'll see it on it. There's a more core coming
tomorrow.
They caused the tiefling genocide twice.
That's what I saw. That's the part I saw. I saw the genocide.
And
I saw
they're calling
reload.
me D&D daddy because I'm scolding them because they just can't stop clicking. Like we need to play some Diablo or something and get it out of our system because they triggered the one of them. Oh, they'll just have to learn. I think the game is a bit of a learning curve for people who don't game too much because there's druidic standoff. And the barbarians just trying to walk past them, and then I'm trying to walk past them, and the druids attacked all the tieflings, murdered all the kids, children, and after having them tell me what they did wrong and explaining it to me, then I allowed them to reload the game, and then Mike goes and detects thoughts someone and fails the roll, and then we're all just hanging out, don't know what's going on, and all of a sudden we're in combat. But one of the tieflings like, what are you doing reading my thoughts? And attacks him. And then all the tieflings, obviously side with their tieflings. Oh my God.
See,
I think we're going to play on Sunday, and I hope everyone's...
Even as you described it, though, that makes me appreciate this game. It's a different game. Yeah. It's almost like they gave you a bonus game that you didn't expect to be in the $60. And it's this thing with Crofton and Mike that only will play out that way with them. It's still a point in the
literal
of the game.
murder hobos. The number one question is, do we have something to go kill? We're gonna stop playing soon. Let's go kill something. I'm like,
you really need to switch the game with them to Diablo. They are
game
not
designed work that way.
Yeah. They want every button to be used, and they want every button to be used aggressively. They'd be given a spell called Peace Bloom. It sprout a bunch of pretty flowers, and they'd be like, can I get this to bloom through somebody's skull?
Knowing what's coming later, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some satisfying comeuppance on some possible, scenarios of biting off more than you can chew in this game. So I'm now that I've played a little further, that's why I'm like, now let them be terrorists. Yeah. The game's going to respond to their behavior, and it's going to be satisfying, I think. So,
I mean, it is going to show you stuff that I'm thinking of doing a more evil playthrough as Diantalis, and even then, I'm like, I don't know if I can let all the tieflings just get murdered.
I don't think I can do it either.
That seems rough.
There's too many
That
kids
seems hard,
in there.
hard for me to sign up to do. So you're seeing stuff that, like, even when I think like, yeah, I'll play through as kind of an asshole, I still wouldn't see that stuff. So you're in beautiful new territory for
you're
this
doing
game.
stuff none of us may ever see, but it is funny because the game's very good at making me feel empathy where I'm supposed to, or where I would naturally. Most games, it's like, well, it's a video game. Let's see what happens. This game's really hard for me to go renegade, or whatever the equivalent is. It's just hard.
No, even on those Grey Dwarves, like most of them were slaver assholes, but one of them I actually got along with really well. But then I got into combat with a head honcho, and everyone's got to fall in line. And I didn't realize till after that I killed the Grey Dwarf I liked, because the Grey Dwarf has to fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I felt something about it. I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, see, that's
like I like that one character, but of course, he's got a life. He's got to do what his commanders do. I'm clearly gone hostile, and then I killed. I was like, oh, a casualty of war.
I reloaded one fight probably 8 times because the outcome of a condition in that fight resulted in a lot of really bad things happening.
Really?
And
like a roll? Like a bad roll or something? Or you were trying to get a better roll?
No, I'm going to try and talk around it without it being too spoilery. There is a fight where it's not really about winning or losing. It's about protecting someone. And it's hard to do. The game does not necessarily want you to succeed at protecting them.
Is it at a certain place where you hang out and sleep and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
I've done this too. I was like, they're hard to protect. And if you don't protect them, the negative consequence is massive. It is huge. Because they are the only thing that is keeping a bunch of innocent people safe. And if they are gone, that is gone. And I was not happy with what the game asked me to do, so I kept reloading that until I successfly protected the person.
I need to. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about, but I hate to. I don't want. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole here, but I succeeded the first try.
All right. All right.
But remember, I've played more hours than you. My guys were like level 8. Like I was. I was
certainly not that. I think I was level 6 or 5.
Yeah. I think I had a lot of advantage that you didn't having that fight. So let's, be reasonable.
Is the game scaling with us levels wise? I haven't really paid attention to that. Okay.
No, it doesn't scale. No. So I'm curious. Like, is it? So I don't know much about why I'm doing what I'm doing in that. I just have to ask. I'm so curious now. But you're saying, I don't know about this protecting things. Does it have more consequences than I might realize if I fail?
So okay, guys, if you are really worried about spoilers, I'm still going to talk around them, but skip ahead like a minute. So
Scott, you may want to remove your headphones.
No,
the environment in that area is dangerous. But you can
go
Last
Light Inn?
Yes, you can go and rest there because there's a protective bubble around it.
Yes.
That bubble is held together by the person you need to protect. If she gets abducted, the bubble drops and the curse takes everybody in the inn.
Are you talking about Marcus? The angel who drops down to kidnap her?
Yes. If he kidnaps her, the bubble goes
that's
away.
The fight you lost.
Yeah. He doesn't even have to kill her. He just has to knock her out.
You know what's hilarious?
And the second she gets knocked out, it falls apart.
So interesting. That didn't happen to me with the Isabel fight, but I thought you were talking about the Halcyon thing.
Oh, no.
Which is weird because it's also near Last Light Inn and also involves a big mystery, but I don't think losing that Halcyon thing would result. That's why the bubble.
No. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't lose that one either. Again, I feel like I'm very highly leveled. I'm high leveled. I did everything in Act 1. Like I went into Act 2 at level 7, pretty much bordering a bee's dick away from level 8. Yeah. So I'm definitely know that I'm going into Act 2 with a huge head start because of all the time I've spent in Act 1. Yeah, anyways, you know what? That never even occurred to me. She got knocked. It's just like getting a sleep spell or something will knock the shield out.
Yeah, if they get her,
yeah,
She drops to 0 HP, and everything is targeting her specifically.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, as somebody who's seen this fight like 8 times, it can go wildly different. I had it happen in the first round without a chance to protect her.
Whoa.
On one playthrough. And yes, the shield goes down and everybody gets cursed.
Like
Wow.
even Jay?
There
Jay
are a
Ward?
few characters
Lady?
that have received blessings that they say like it won't fade for them. But
Was J Lady okay in that scenario?
yes.
Okay.
But then they tell you to kill everybody because they're all attacking you. The fight continues, but you have to kill everybody in the end.
Like so the like even the kids?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awful,
that
dude.
is
Holy
awful.
shit. And I don't want to spoil it for Scott, but it's like there's people there that you helped save that you're now, because you failed in that fight, have to murder as undead.
Yeah, these are people you've known since Act 1. These aren't just like, oh, I stumbled on some nice people.
Whoa.
It's now you have to
Whoa.
execute people from Act 1.
Damn.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Man, I'm doing good.
You are doing good.
I'm really pleased with
I
myself.
feel so innocent. I'm like, I didn't realize just how badly.
Because you went to your Underdark party and over-leveled everybody, and then you're winning all your stuff.
The Marcus versus Isabel fight is like, it's intense. You start right in the thick of things. Like they're 2 feet away from each other. Like I see how it could go wrong. I just didn't. Like I don't even know.
Well, and the other enemies that spawn, sometimes they get caught up on the other people in the inn and will actually fight or will be slowed down. But I literally had one turn where he attacked her. He got nothing but crits, nearly killed her from the first hit. Then almost nobody in the inn got a chance to act. The creatures got to act. They came in, attacked her. And I did not have enough time to prevent. I tried to stop him from hitting her his next turn. He downed her immediately.
All right, I'm sorry for that tangent. I just had to know because
no, it's fine. It's a
critical
wild
failure
thing.
states is like, yeah, no, and you have to decide whether or not you're going to live with that or not in your playthrough.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, and I was like, no, this is too much for me. I don't want to live with this. I'd rather find a way to.
It's like Arthur's level. Like they all need to be
get some
cleansed.
Strathholm going.
Jaina's like, they're people, and you're like, actually, they're undead. Kill them all now. Wow.
I have a quick note for you because you said earlier you were a bee's dick away from something.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are less than 1 millimeter long, bee penis. And I found out this really interesting fact here. It says the process is sometimes audible to the human ear, like a popping sound when a bee ejaculates. It says here, the bee ejaculates so powerfully that it ruptures the end of the endophallus, which is its penis, disconnecting the drone from the queen. The bulb from the endophallus is busted off inside the queen during mating. So drones mate only once and die shortly after. The leftover endophallus remains in the queen's vagina and is referred to as the mating sign. This is how scientists or others would know that she's, already mated, because she's got the guy's wiener in there still. So there you go. Just a little extra on top of your, because when you said that far away, I thought, how far is that? It's 1 millimeter or less.
Yeah. It's the Australians came up with it. Blame them. I heard it from an Australian.
Okay.
Apparently, that's a common thing in Australia.
All right. Bees dick.
Which sort of tracks because their animals are like savage and dangerous. Everything like does crit damage.
Perfect.
In Australia, even the koalas do crit damage to you.
Well, let's do some additional news damage. We got additional news here. This guy that did the speed run in 10 minutes has now moved on to do sex percentage. It's now an official speedrun category. Current record in BG3 is 8 minutes to having your first sexual encounter in the game.
Does anybody know who? Because I know who it is. Do you know who the record sex receiver is?
I don't know who the record sex receiver is, but I know I'm about to beat this world record.
Do you have a guess on who it would be?
Can I guess?
Who do you think is the world's fastest person you can bed in the game?
I will guess it's Lazelle because she's so eager all the time.
Gail?
Oh, do you have a guess? Gail,
yeah.
The world record is for sleeping with Lazelle.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, she seems really hot to trot all the time, although she doesn't like my character. But
Well,
whatever.
Githyanki lay eggs, so sex is purely for pleasure.
Oh. Well, then she got because you don't have to worry about any false positives or anything. You're just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't gotten there either, Scott. The eggs. We got to stop talking about Baldur's Gate. Everything just turns into a story. I have a story about a Githyanki egg.
A story about a Githyanki egg. No, that's a good team. Yeah. We could have it a teaser for next week, or do you want to tell now? You can tell.
So you'll find out. You have Lizelle in your party, and she keeps saying we got to go to a creche.
Or I don't.
There's a Githyanki creche nearby.
Okay.
She says that. Like,
yeah. Early on, she says that. I think.
Yeah. So on your way to the creche, there's someone who gives you a quest. They're like Githyanki are kind of bitches, and we want to raise them a Githyanki away from other Githyanki to see if that's just culture, and if Githyanki are actually not bitches when they're raised with civilized. So they task you to steal an egg.
Okay.
And
Scott's immediately down. He's like, "Yeah, I'll steal an egg."
Yeah, I'll steal an egg. I have no problem with that.
So there's a whole quest involving stealing one of their eggs, and let's just say I didn't steal it, but I have it. I have the egg in my possession, but I did not turn it into the person. So I'm actually trying to see if it'll hatch. That'd be cool. I don't know if it's gonna hatch, and I'm kind of in with Lizelle, so we can have an adoptive. She doesn't want to raise kids, by the way. I'll be a house husband, I think, but whatever. I got a whole story with this egg. It's part of the lore of my playthrough now. It's like I've got a beautiful someone I want to make my wife and a Githyanki. I got a Githyanki egg in a treasure chest in my inventory. It's all happening. I finally have a family, you guys.
You should make breakfast with it. Make a hard-boiled Githyanki.
God, Scott.
I mean, I don't know. Like, is it even fertilized? How do the Githyankis work?
Yeah, no, I met the egg. There's a proprietor. I don't know. It's like a person who runs the eggs. And he's a runt. He's late, and Githyanki hate failure, so he's gonna be treated badly. But it's still good, and he still believed it was gonna be hatched. So as far as I know, it's fertilized and good to go.
Ready to rock. All right. Also, I didn't know this was happening. There's a brand new Guild Wars 2 expansion next week, Secret of the Obscure.
Yeah, I thought this was crazy too. I'm like, oh man, their advertising budgets are really small.
It must be. Although, with so much going on, maybe people just missed it. But I thought I just picked up their last one.
Apparently there's a new one coming, and it releases next week. And I was like, oh damn, with all these games coming, I kind of like Guild Wars.
Guild Wars is doing all right. They've had, but the word is they've had a real uptick in numbers, and I don't know what that's coming from. But maybe the last expansion was good. I don't know. I think the WoW thing also. A lot of people are like, oh, whoa, this dragon riding's cool. Oh, you should see how they do it over here. They basically lifted it. It's a cooler system over in Guild Wars. You should go try it. And then I think some people went and tried it and liked it. I don't know what's going on there. And Steam, I think it's going well on Steam. So maybe there's just maybe things are coming up nice for them over there. I don't know. It's a good game though. I like Guild Wars 2 a lot. Titan Quest 2 got announced. Ooh, that's exciting. If you're a Titan Quest fan, you're excited.
Titan Quest has been around for so long.
I know, right? And it feels like
it's about time in a way. Like,
yeah,
I can't believe I lost a video card to Titan Quest because I tried playing it. And my computer at the time couldn't handle it, and it killed my video card and killed my computer.
Oh crap!
So I've always been a little bitter towards it. It's because, like, hey, you want to know how old Titan Quest was? It was really revolutionary that Titan Quest had grass that blew in the wind.
I remember
that
too.
Was amazing tech. It was like, holy shit, the grass moves on its own, like wind, and that killed my video card, killed my computer.
It was a very resource intensive game at the time, and it still looks good. Weirdly, like you run this game today, and you're like, whoa, this actually is a very pretty action RPG game. I liked it a lot. It's the Grim Dawn people came out of this group. Or the original developers were the Grim Dawn people. I don't know who's making this. But I'd check it out. It turns out.
I mean, I also really, they talk about, D2 having a specific vibe for an ARPG, but I'd argue the Greek mythology is a great vibe for an ARPG as well.
Agreed. Yeah, there's some wicked shit you fight in that game. That first game.
I actually really like that. That's a vibe too, and I think if they nail it, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Screenshots look good too on the Steam page. You can already wishlist it now.
Yeah,
it actually shows you some like gameplay looking stuff, and I don't know, man, looks pretty exciting. Nice and colorful, the opposite of D2.
Yeah, and 4 for that matter. It's just really got a good legacy, and people, I think this is something people have been clamoring for a while. So I'm excited. Then we got Darktide is adding skill trees. Darktide's still climbing its way back to it's going to be great like Vermintide status.
I hope so. I was really sad how, it got criticism. Fair enough. Like what, I'm not going to argue. If people feel a way about it, that's great. But I kind of hope they claw their way back because I think it's a really awesome game.
Yeah. These tech trees look cool. I don't know. Tech trees are just tech trees, so who knows what it means.
One of the criticism was just that the classes felt there wasn't it was just pretty linear, like where you had 3 different skill options or subclass options per character. For the 5 characters, there's only 4 characters and not really great choices. So I don't know, maybe this will do it, maybe not. It's hard to tell. It doesn't look like that complicated of a skill tree, but they added 2 more maps recently as well. Check in with
chipping away on it. Yeah. I like that they're doing that, and looks like October-ish is when you should expect that update.
And remember, great soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
I was just listening to it the other day. Like, it's just got a good...
It is really good. I agree with you there. Let's see. Assassin's Creed Mirage is now coming out early. It's done. It's gone gold. And Alan Wake 2 got delayed. So this.
Wait, Mirage is out early? They're copying Larian?
Yeah, they're copying Larian a little bit. Let's see if I can find the date here. Hold on.
This is a good trend overall. If everyone's like, we're launching early now for the next 5 years.
Well, it seems like it is an attempt to spread out the October video game releases. It seems like everybody was kind of hitting the same spot. So right now, October is going to be Forza Motorsport, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Sega's Sonic Superstars, and Alan Wake 2 was all going to be coming out at roughly the same time. And now they have spread out a little bit by having Assassin's Creed move up and Alan Wake move back. In fact, Alan Wake, they just flat out said it. They're like, we want to give you more time to play other games.
It doesn't surprise me.
That's literally what they said. It wasn't like we need more time. They were just like, hey, there's a lot coming out. You should play. We want to have our own window.
We have a real AAA traffic jam this year, and I'm not surprised to see people moving around trying to.
Oh yeah, and Spider-Man. I forgot.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man.
just a little game, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, only expected to be the biggest thing of that era or of that moment. And oh my gosh, there's so much, you guys. I can't look. I'm excited about Starfield in a major way, but it's making me feel like I'm behind on everything if I want to touch it first day. Anyway, let's see. And Mirage looking good. That's the other thing. Mirage looks awesome. Like, it's smaller in scale, which I'm down for. I don't need another 300-hour open world game. It's a nice tight 60 or something. Back to the more stealthy kind of gameplay the series was originally known for. There's a lot to like about what Mirage is doing. And prior to hearing all of that, I kind of wasn't even thinking about it. But now I kind of want to play that. I don't know. Too much. But a sad day for 360 owners if you're still buying shit on the store. The Xbox 360 store is closing down after 18 years. No more store.
Oh, what? 360 store?
Yeah. So you're surprised it was even running. Yeah, it's still running. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these things, they go for a long time. What was it? The Wii U one or the Wii one just ended a month ago or something.
So is it just like end of life also for your digital locker on Xbox 360?
If I had to, well, they move forward. In Xbox's case, they let you move all that shit forward on the next console so you can pull out.
Yeah, but I mean, I still have a 360 if I want to plug it in. I'm just trying to figure out, do I only have access to my physical games or...
I think it's just the store, so you can't
I think you could get your downloads. You just couldn't buy anything.
You can't buy anything, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I can still play my Peggle and Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. That's the way the not PSP, the Vita works right now. My Vita, when I log in, I can download stuff. I just can't buy anything.
Yeah,
So-
it's just because like that's the fun part about old consoles. Like I got a Super NES. I think if I plug it in, it'll work, and I got like 10 cartridges. So it's like
you just go.
it all functions. But like my Xbox 360, I'm like, is it just a brick? Like when does it become just a brick? Like can I? I think I have a few CDs, but definitely an Xbox Series S at its end of life. I got nothing to stick in that thing.
Well, we're there now for this. We're really just hitting that, aren't we? Like Xbox, original Xbox, I guess was pretty internet connected, but it was still mostly here's the disc, here's the thing, play it.
Yeah.
But like PlayStation 2, same thing, and GameCube. But if you jump to 360, PS3 era, those were the consoles where online was a gigantic part of it, of the whole strategy. So as that comes to end of life, we're having to grapple with what does that freaking mean for archiving games, or in Sony's case, a lot of that doesn't move forward. In Microsoft case, I appreciate they do this, but that stuff usually does, but there's probably exceptions to that. Certainly online games that don't have servers anymore, you're screwed there.
Like I don't fire out my old consoles because I feel like, you should retain them. They're products and
they're
they
cool.
Don't take a lot of room. But like the Series S, I'm like, it literally, unless I can repurpose it as a laptop or something, like what can I do with it if, in 20 years, right? Like, will it be worth keeping?
Yeah.
Like plug it in and then it won't connect to anything. I don't know.
Well, in 20 years, you'll be in your 60s or something. And you'll be like, by then you'll have hatched that egg and you'll have a little grandkid.
I'll have Xbox Series 10, 2, 7.
I'll have a Get the Yankee Kid.
Get the Yankee Kid, yeah, that came out of that egg.
I'll be living in Faerun in the video game.
Yeah.
Digitize my brain and hang out with my Liz Eleanor.
I'm ready, man. As I get closer to whatever my death is in the future, just convert me to digital. I'm good. I don't even want to. I want to be. I don't want to live forever. I don't think that's good for anybody.
I don't want to live
but the essence of who I was could just live. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to get tired or be sad or be hungry.
You want to be a Terminator.
I just want to be a Terminator.
What about being a Max Headroom?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Sure.
The TV with Scott going like, hey.
Yep. I'd do it.
That'd be good.
Yeah, why not? All right, that's it for your stories. Let's do some quick correspondence.
That's a good question.
We got emails and texts all the time. We got a voicemail to start with today, and I'm going to play it. Is it not here? Why? What happened? Hold on, I've moved it. Oh, I thought I put it in here. Hold on 1 second, everybody. Don't worry. Scott's got it under control. Show files, core. Yeah, I think I just forgot to drag it over. Okay, here it is. This is which one? Language barriers in movies. Oh, this is for FilmSack. Ignore that. Here's the one that we were supposed to do. Bo, this is for you. All right. All right. It's a two-parter. This is amazing. I can't believe I did this wrong.
Shit. Two-parter.
Let me grab it real quick. Was it this one? I believe that was it. Hold on.
Man, what a great podcast.
Was it the same guy?
Hey.
Yeah, it's this guy. Okay, so he sent two things in. This is important because the first one matters, and then the second one's a crack up. So anyway, here's the first. Here's the first one.
Man, what a great podcast. Anyways, today I was at work and I was using the Wayback Time Machine. Don't know if you've heard of it before, but you can basically search any website and it shows you the website as it was. So I went to 2004 and went to Blizzard.com, and what a throwback. It was just like I remembered it when I was 9. But anyways, on on the website, it actually showed like StarCraft Ghost coming out soon, in development and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I remember Scott talks about how probably the worst regret of his life that he doesn't get to play it ever. So anyways, I clicked on it. It was going through screenshots. It said it was even back then going to be on Xbox and PlayStation or something like that, which is pretty crazy for back then. But anyways, super sad. But later today, I was wasting some more time at work, and I saw that there was a playable build released and leaked online. So I'm not sure if you've heard of that before, but it's like an early build from development. So I guess you can play what they had. So I'm gonna give this a shot, and I'm not gonna miss that opportunity. I'll let you know how it goes. But yeah, definitely check that out, man. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bo is a hoser.
All right. Now, this is what's important. The whole
that
bit,
was like a random like.
yeah, it's just it was like a thought explosion.
It's like a drive-by shooting. Like, you guys are great, best podcast ever.
Yeah.
F you, Bo. Goodbye.
Yeah. Now, what I like about it, that's what I liked about it. It was like all the stuff about StarCraft Ghosts, and then, oh yeah, Bo's a hoser. But then I get this call.
Also,
Hey.
hang on.
Okay, go ahead.
I just got a comment. I found it very funny that he called it the Wayback Time Machine.
I don't know if you guys have heard about
it's just
time
the
travel.
Wayback Machine. There's no time travel.
There's no time travel involved.
It's like, I found this crazy thing. You guys,
You're never
it's
gonna
a
believe
time machine.
Yeah.
I'm like,
If you don't, and
All right,
also
go
to
ahead.
follow up on the thing, if you don't want to go hunt down that playable build, it's YouTube. You can see it on YouTube. So
Okay.
Blizzard never pulled it down. But then he replies with this after, again, let's just remind people what the very end of this said. Hold on, right here.
Bo is a hoser.
All right, so that we got that. Then I get this call.
Hey, so for some reason, I don't know how I messed up on this, but I called Bo a hoser in the last voicemail, and I thought it meant Canadian, and I just Urban Dictionaried it, and it does not mean Canadian, so I feel really bad. Bo is like, what an intelligent man. I respect him so much. I look up to him, and he's daddy. So anyways, just wanted to apologize to Bo. Love you, Bo.
Why that's so funny to me. But yeah, he didn't know what hoser meant, he claims.
Oh,
So-
hoser's not that bad though. But yes, it is a you're calling someone like just dumb or it's a
It's
name
derogatory. It's not. It's
dero-
not
yeah,
a
thank you. It's
statement
derogatory.
of fact. Like you're
pejorative,
Canadian.
But
Yeah.
it's like one of the like getting slapped with a feather kind of thing. It's not that bad.
You call your friends a hoser. You call your friend a boner. You, call your friend a goofball.
I have never used the word hoser in my life. That is something that John Candy did in your American movies to make you think, oh, Canadians, we call each other hosers. Eh?
No,
And
it's
wear
worse than
jeans on our
that.
heads."
It was Bob and Doug McKenzie records. That's what did it.
Those
Yeah.
two as well. They're guilty of perpetuating Canadian
Yeah.
stereotypes.
You
eh?
hoser,
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah, big time. And
Yeah.
they were Canadian, and so we all thought this was legit and authentic when we heard it on the Great White Album.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Got me
But-
kicked out of middle school history class too.
I mean, nobody says hosers that much. They, I just hear "son of a hooer" all the time.
hooer.
Yeah,
Who
I
are
love that pronunciation of. It's a bad word, guys. Don't say it. It's horror.
Oh,
It's
hooer
like,
is
son of a
funny though.
whore.
Yeah.
But that sounds so derogatory. When you say "son of a hooer," it's like it makes it really awesome. I don't know what.
Do you guys say piss jugs, or is that just?
I was
Trailer Park?
downtown and I met some hooers.
Yeah.
And you're like,
So is the piss jug thing just Trailer Park Boys, and it's not real? No one ever says piss jug.
No, piss jug is very Trailer Park Boys. I mean, you piss in the bush all the time. I don't know why anyone would put in like that's kind of one of the weird things about Trailer Park Boys.
do a
is
lot
that,
of things in the bush.
like when we would go up home, we would pull up on the side of the road and just piss on the trees, and the ladies would go deeper and just piss in crouch, take the pants off, try not to pee in their pants, and piss in the bush.
Yeah.
And we had one woman who could pee standing up, and that was
They're not toilets in Canada.
And her name was Lazelle, right? Because she could be
no. Well, there are toilets, but when we're going, where my family's from, it's like an hour of forest before you get to toilets. There's no toilets in. When I say I come from a rural family on my dad's side, it really means rural. Like, lots of forest. You can walk out there and die and get lost, never find your way back if you don't know how to navigate. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Actual wilderness.
The Great White North is where you were.
Yeah, there's lots of city and lots of city
Blair Witch
folk.
Project.
And I'm a city folk, but I was raised, so I know some survival shit.
I'll bet you do.
I can hang.
Yeah.
I can,
I would love you if I had a zombie survival group. I always think about who I don't want, so it's easy. That's like I don't want Ted Cruz in there. I don't want all the worst, laziest.
Ted Cruz is coming knocking, Scott.
I know how to.
I survived.
I know how to chase deer. I know how to gut deer.
Yeah,
I've
you'd be
been
great.
there.
Plus, you'd care about people in the group. You'd be a great.
It's gross.
group.
You cut out their butthole and then you pull out all their guts from their butthole. Anyways, it smells bad. You wouldn't believe what the insides of deer smell.
I
like,
bet
but
it's really bad. Yeah,
I've had
I totally forgot to mention I played that Palia beta, and it reminds me of that because I had to kill some deer in it. I'll talk about it next week. I kind of like that Palia
also
game.
water buttholes.
And butterhole, but yeah,
butterholes. Yep, butterholes, man.
Why was I saying butter? Buttholes. It looks like you're watering buttholes. This is what it looks like when you plant food and water it.
Okay.
It's weird.
All right.
That game's cool though. I think it's I don't know. I mean, it's early, but it seems like it's going to be rad. I'm excited about that.
That's a survival game too, and I'm sure it's a lot like the real thing.
Yeah. Watering buttholes out there like we used to do.
Anyways, all that to say, Hoser, don't believe Canadian stereotypes. Hoser's not that bad.
Yeah.
I know a lot of French ones. French isn't important, but I don't even want to say them. But,
French hosers or French words?
My favorite
French
part
word.
about this call, though, is that, like, okay, he messed up. He didn't know what it meant. But he thought it was analogous to just saying Canadian. So that's like ending a call and going, Scott is American. And that's how you decided to end the call. It's really funny
Which
to me.
I think it would be correct to say Canuck.
Or you'd say Scott's a Yankee, Bo's a Canuck, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
And what do they
He
call?
wasn't
What do they
just
call the
trying to end it
Arizona?
with Bo is a Canadian.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
What do they call Arizona or
Arizonans. Is it Arizona hot? Yeah, they're just hot.
Zonies?
Zony? No, Arizonans is what my brother told me. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know. That doesn't sound good. We got to figure that out.
We're Utahns. That's real.
No, but like a nickname thing, because New Yorker people should be New Yorkies or New Yorkers.
New Yorkies.
New Yorkies.
You call them Yankees? Like, what's that? Where do the Yankees?
No,
come
Yankees
from?
is just like supposed
No,
to be.
they do call them New Yorkers. That it's a real thing.
Yeah, New Yorkers is
a
correct.
Sports team.
Yeah, but there's the more derogatory, not derogatory, but not their name, right? Like, like Canadians, we're Canadians, but we get called Canucks.
Oh, I
And
thought Canucks was
Yankees
a
are
hockey team or something.
And don't they have a name for New Jerseyans?
New Jerseyans?
Yeah, maybe I think I'm wading into trouble here. Let's not.
Bo is just like, he's turned down his street and now he's looking around and going, I don't think I'm in a good neighborhood.
That street is New Jersey. I'm
suddenly feel
get the hell
very
out of New Jersey.
unsafe.
We're gonna get a call from all the New Yorkies who are gonna come after us.
In danger.
Here's a quick email from Steve in New York, of all places. That's funny. He wrote into, by the way, that phone call came from 801-471-0462. Yes, the famed 10 hams number. Use that, call in, leave a voicemail. We'd love it.
10 hams.
Yep, 180 10 hams. The email, though, on the other hand, is talktothecourt@gmail.com. This is Steve in New York who says, Scott and company, I am a longtime listener and first-time email sender. The Core podcast is excellent based on your videos. As I've never seen what you look like, I imagine you guys look like the following. You ready for this?
Yep. So
Scott?
this is somebody who's never seen us. This is their prediction on what we look like based purely on our voice.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that I think in all three of these cases, we're talking about at their prime when they were known for something big at their prime. I mean, right now, the guy they gave me is like 92 years old or something.
I was going to say, you're really only making this excuse for one person.
Well, but I would say this one for Bo is also, he is like in his 80s now. And when he was the dude, he was not. But anyway, Scott is Ed Begley Jr. I don't know why he's got that in his head, but fine. The actor Ed Begley
Ed
Jr.
Begley Jr. is great.
Oh, I love him.
that's-
He's
that's
awesome.
fine.
He was great.
He's
in
got a
Better-
great voice too. Yeah.
He loves him, but Scott doesn't want to look like him.
Oh, I
Thank
like
you
him.
very much.
He's fine. And maybe that's most accurate, actually, because he's tall and lanky and very white, and that's me. He was great in Better Call Saul. I was great in Better Call Saul. So we have a lot in
you
common. Bo, the dude from Big Lebowski. It's not too far.
Yeah, it's actually pretty close.
You got the beard and the hair.
I think
just
maybe if
need-
I lost some weight and looked a little more.
It's a robe and a white Russian.
Yeah. And you could just sit there and
Yeah.
go, well, that's just your,
I mean, I think
your
I-
opinion,
I-
man.
I've
What?
gone through periods of dressing like him for sure.
Mhm.
There was one point where I think I wore a house coat for a year. I think I had a few pot years where I was,
Sure.
I don't know. I think probably it's bang on. Probably.
Do you have a friend named Donnie who died too young? Who looked really
No.
ugly?
No. I got a friend
face
named,
full of his ashes.
but when we went to go see the Big Lebowski at the Mayfair, we dressed up as, it's like one of those cinema viewings where you dress up, and we dressed up as the characters from Big Lebowski. And Crofton was Donnie. Really? He was a good Donnie. And we told him to F off. He'd talk and be like, F off, Donnie. But I was surprisingly not, I had shorter hair at the time. I didn't have long hair. So I was not the dude. Mike was the dude. I was Walter.
You were Walter?
And I won first place because you go up and they did a little contest, and I won first place for my Walter. But it's because I told everyone to shut the fuck up in front of the audience. What is his line? This is what happens when a stranger F's you in the eye.
Yeah.
And that got a thunderous applause. Everyone liked.
Oh my gosh, one of the great John Goodman roles of all time. It's so good.
Yeah.
John, you are McLovin from Superbad.
I mean, here's why I'm okay with this. I feel like I'm maybe better looking than who I got compared to.
I agree.
That's easy.
Yeah, you're better looking than McLovin.
That's the one save. I feel like I got McLovin, and I was like, oh man, I got McLovin. And then I was like, well, maybe could have been worse. They could have been like, here's an extremely handsome individual, and I'm just like,
I mean, no offense to that
scuff version of that, I guess.
Yeah.
No offense to that actor, but I feel like that's that actor's whole shtick is how ironically unattractive he is as a human being compared to he plays like a Mac Daddy who you're like, how? Like that's the humor of Superbad is like,
that's the joke.
I mean, he's not that bad. I think they play it up in the movies and stuff like that, but I'm actually trying to. There's a photo.
I feel bad for him because he's definitely one of those guys that like could not escape the shadow of the joke, right? Like hear about him just being like, I don't want to be called McLovin,
Yeah, like he's definitely typecast because he's been in a lot of roles since as the, very unappealing looking person who somehow has a power god complex and blah blah blah.
Yeah, Christopher Mintz Plaze. I'm not sure how to say his last name, but he is. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything that's like recent that I would know here. Actually,
I don't know. I was looking at a few photos here of him as an adult.
He's all right.
I think he's good.
All right.
Guy. He's a good looking guy.
Yeah.
I've only ever
Escaped
seen him
the
in
shadow
movies.
of McLovin. Yeah.
I've only ever seen him in movies that are playing up the glasses and is just making sure to show his teeth and all that stuff. But
he's very good in the movie Role Models. I like that movie a lot.
He's a good voice actor in the How to Train Your Dragon stuff. He plays that fish legs character. It's pretty good. But he's kind of just playing McLovin in cartoon form. Well, and he's in... Oh, no, I thought I saw a video game in here. I don't see a video game. Never mind. Oh, Kick-Ass 2. He's been in some stuff. He's all right. He hasn't been working a lot lately.
Who do you look like, John? Who'd you... Since this isn't spot on, who would you compare yourself to?
Yeah, who would you say?
Who do I look like? Yeah. I don't know. I probably wouldn't be happy to find out either.
I will tell you.
Someone awesome.
I will tell you this.
You have a wrestler belt. Maybe
this happens to me once in a while, John, and I promise you it's nothing to do with baldness, okay? But
you're off to a great start, Scott. I know I'm not supposed to eat on the podcast, but can I get some popcorn, please?
Yeah, popcorn needed here.
Let me break out the popcorn for where this is going to go.
But I cannot help it. There are a few people in my life where this happens to in the same show. But when I watch Seinfeld, which is a lot, it's kind of on all the time around here.
No.
There are George moments that I think of you. Just moments.
That's fine. I mean, look, George is obviously based on Larry David.
Right.
And I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I feel like Larry David.
And that's the other thing.
That show speaks to me on a real personal level. I cannot tell you how much I identify with him, and I don't think that's a good thing. But the amount of times I watch that show going, he's right. And the only time I get mad at Curb is usually because he has to pay the price for his attitude. Like it's about him, like life throwing it back at him.
Yeah.
I get frustrated because I'm like, he was right. And he didn't deserve what happened to him. Like I am the biggest advocate for no, he doesn't deserve this. He's got a point. Yeah. He's got an absolutely spot on.
Larry has a point. Yeah, you're definitely.
I think like Jason Alexander or Larry David.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't think it's a look thing. It's a personality thing. But obviously those are very, I know John enough to know that he is not quote unquote Larry David or Jason Alexander's character George, but there's something about their vibe that I get out of John just naturally. It just kind of happens. I can't explain.
I have to say, it's accurate. I watch Seinfeld. I definitely feel like George more often than not. I watch Curb. I feel like Larry David a lot.
Yeah, I can't help it. There's something about it. Anyway, if you all at home have ideas about who we look like, we'd love to take your feedback on that. Send us those emails and those voicemails and those texts. That would be awesome. Before we get out of here tonight, I want to thank our Patreon people, patrons of all ilks who have joined us over there. Many of you have been there a long time. Some of you are brand new, like Jeremy Pierce, Rolled Guard 2000. That feels like something my doctor would have to prescribe or something, doesn't it? The Rolled Guard.
Rolled Guard. Ask your doctor about Rolled Guard.
Make sure it's right for you. Mark
Wait,
Rickert.
are you making fun of someone's name? Oh,
no, I love their names. Mike Rickert or Reichart. Reichert? I'm not sure I'd say it. And James Hoover. That one I know because it sounds like the vacuum. You guys are awesome, and you have joined the show because you know the benefits therein. That means no commercials ever, pre-show content every week, and monthly benefits like host specials. Got one coming up for John soon here, so watch for that.
I know I got to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it could be me and George, why we're alike. No, it can be whatever.
I got two more reminders as a bulletin board item for the show. Real quick.
Go for it.
Just one. Hardcore WoW official servers soon. By the way.
Oh, you're gonna try that, are you? All right.
Maybe. I'm just letting people know. And the other thing is, Ahsoka next week.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's coming up. I just watched her in Dope Sick, which I know I'm in like 2 years behind on that. That series was freaking amazing.
No.
It's all about the opioid thing, but Ahsoka actress, what's her name?
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson, amazing in it.
Rosario.
Michael Keaton, unbelievably good in that. Can't recommend that enough, by the way. People should watch that shit. It's real good.
Well, I'm super hyped for Ahsoka and Rosario. I watched an interview with Rosario of Dope Sick.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
and I'm trying to connect it.
Not Clerks
to what
2. Yeah, not Clerks 2 or any of the other things we know her from. But
she's great in everything she's in.
She was really
I'm a
good in
big
Clerks
fan.
too.
I agree. She was a high point in the movie that wasn't that great. Clerks 2 wasn't that
I
great.
think Clerks 2.
It was all right.
I'm okay with Clerks 2. It's better than some other. Anyways,
Is three.
Tangent, I just want to say
out?
she's really into the playing Ahsoka.
Yeah,
I have high hopes for this thing. I hope it turns
she's
out
awesome.
really good.
I'm so excited. I'm really sad about Ray Stevenson, who's in it, who passed away after they did it. But we'll see how they handle that.
I just like him so much, and it's going to be a sad reminder. There's going to be a lot of awes while I watch Ahsoka.
Yeah, same.
Every time he's on screen, he's so good.
I see the trailer and he pops in. I'm like, oh, frick, that's not fair. He was a nice guy. By all accounts, one of the nicest guys. Why can't some dicks die? Why can't that happen more? More of these dicks.
They're not bees, Scott.
Bees dick. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the show. But before we leave, a reminder, frogpants.com/core. That'll have a link to that Patreon, by the way, and all that other stuff. Everything you're looking for. frogpants.com/core. All right. Without any further ado. Oh, and stick around after the show. There'll be some additional phone calls that are just a little long or don't really need a direct answer. So I'm going to try to play all of those at the end of the show. I did this last time as well. Expect more of that. Now we give we give the microphone to Grandma, and we hope she knows what we played today. Grandma, take it away.
Considering 75% of the show was about Baldur's Gate 3, I guess Baldur's Gate 3. If you're wondering what they talked about, it was probably Baldur's Gate 3. I said it 3 times. But they did talk about a couple other things. Scott played Ship Graveyard Simulator 2. If you wondered about him throwing a box across the universe, that was that game. He played BroForce Forever. That's BroForce. It's just it. They put a Forever on there too, like Batman.
Yeah.
And he also played Quake II Remake. So when he talked about voodoo cards and your ears perked up, it was Quake 2.
Yeah.
John talked about Progress. They didn't name the game. Didn't think he had to, but I'll name it, and it's WWE 2K, whatever the hell year it is, 23. I can't keep track of them. They keep coming. And Bo played Warcraft Rumble. No Arclight in it. It's just Warcraft Rumble.
Yeah.
I can
mobile
only
game.
assume he did it because he hates himself.
He likes self-torture. I wonder if Frog Wrestling will forward to the new engine next year for next year's version of that game.
I don't know. I've never considered this. There are some wrestlers where I'm like, I'm so annoyed that they aren't there.
Yeah.
Because I want to use their theme or I want to use their entrance or whatever, and they just weren't prominent at this time, or they hadn't come into their own at the time that this game came out. Like right now, the biggest bad guy in all of, not biggest, but one of the best bad guys in all of wrestling is Dominic Mysterio. And at the time this game came out, he was just a cheesy, lame-ass good guy. Like, nothing interesting about him at all. And now he's like, he can't talk because people just boo so loudly no words come out of his mouth. It's so good, but that's not who you get in the game. So I might be excited. This might be interesting.
I wonder if they'll let you just
port. Might be a ton of work, though, to make everybody... I don't know if it transfers over.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is I wonder if it'll let you port your existing creations. I'll bet it does. They're way too good in this game for you not to. I
would hope so, because otherwise, we'll be transitioning by the time the next game comes out.
Yeah, no
I'll
kidding.
be like, I'm finally done.
It's a lot of work. Well, anyway, thank you all for watching, for listening, for hanging out with us. We record every Thursday night at 5 p.m. most of the time. Tonight's Friday, but I had power outage yesterday. That's how things go. But most of the time, that's what we do. And check out More Core. It's a little short video series that we put up all the time, including a recent one from Bo about Yakuza, and also one coming up tomorrow, BG3 related. So if you want more Baldur's Gate in your life, that's going up. And I'll be doing some next week. That'll do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Go play some games. We'll see you next time.
Get more at frogpants.com.
You might not want to linger with me. We haven't always seen eye to eye after all.
How can you not love